All right, we are back, and I am so excited to have the man, the machine, the legend, James Aspey back on the show. And James, I was actually honestly kind of bummed to hear that things weren't going so well recently. I definitely want to hear about that because you shared some honestly kind of dark stories about cancer and an eating disorder. Honestly, just it was really brave for you to share the things you were sharing because I think a lot of people aren't willing to talk about things. I think especially men don't talk about eating disorders nearly enough. And I want to hear all about that, but I might start by just asking a question that's been on my mind. And there have been a number of conversations here in the Bay Area about this, and it has to do with the election. And it made me think of you, because one of the things that you were so strong on last time we were talking is when we're thinking about how we should behave, we should just kind of put a human being in the place of the animal and ask ourselves, what will we do? So even on something like, is this a Holocaust? Well, if we were killing billions of human beings in cages, we wouldn't be afraid to call it a Holocaust. So why don't we call it a Holocaust? And the question that came up is it ethical to vote for a non-vegan? Because there are all these debates in the United States right now. We have this really important election coming up, and some people like, Donald Trump, some people like Kamala Harris, some people like J.B. Vance, some people like Tim Walz, some people like Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate. But as far as I can tell, none of the candidates, with the possible exception of Marianne Williamson, is a vegan. And so I wonder, I don't even know, do you vote in Australia? Do you vote in Brazil? Do you even care to vote? Are you someone who thinks voting matters?
It's hard to say, isn't it? In a way, I do think it matters. That's how wild the world is.
Yeah.
Mate, exactly. Like, how deep do you want to go in this conversation? Because there's layers to who govern us, I think. And so, but I'll be honest with you, man, it's really not something I'm too interested in or well versed in. Politics on that level. I don't really know much about voting and things. I'd be curious what you say. Actually, I'm sure you've probably given it a lot more thought than I have. But as you said, most of them aren't vegan, and usually they won't be. So it would be great if they were. I'm sure probably that's who all vegans would get behind, assuming they've got some decent ideas and things like that. They definitely do when it comes to animal rights if they're vegan, so that would be great. But it's hard because, you can, even not just voting, but it's also, what about, some people say, what about giving money to a mechanic who's not vegan and things like that? Because it's sort of on the same level. But, they always seem to try to say something good for animals, like, oh, we're going to do this or this and that. But as I said, Wayne, to be honest, it's really not something I'm too well versed in. So, but I'm very curious to hear what you think.
Yeah, it is. What you said is correct. I think almost all politicians say that they want to help animals because who the hell wants to hurt animals, right? That's sociopathic. That's sadistic. Nobody wants to hurt animals. But the problem is, the reality is almost all of them support horrific animal abuse. And I think, and it's ironic for me to say this because I'm someone who has for years said, look, we have to be less judgmental about veganism, and in a lot of ways. Not that we shouldn't be vegan. I mean, I think it's a moral baseline. I think I'm with you on this. Yeah. But I also think we should be inclusive of people who are not vegan yet in the animal rights movement and say, like, look, we want you on part of the team. And my experience has been, if somebody joins the team, even if they're not vegan yet, they will be vegan very soon. It's just because they'll be around. Do you tell them not to come to a slaughterhouse vigil because they're not vegan yet? Yeah, that's where they'll get it. That's where they're going to become vegan.
They're going to talk to vegans. They're going to understand things. Like, they're interested. Welcome.
Yeah. So my general rule is, look, we're way too judgmental about people wanting to support animal rights before they're vegan. We need to be Big Tent. We need to include everybody. And look, they're going to go vegan anyways. But I actually make an exception when it comes to politicians and especially our elected leaders. And the reason is, when you think about who you want in leadership, not just in political leadership, but whether it's a company, a movement, whatever it is, I mean, some of the things you're looking for are independent thinking. Are they able to think independently, right? Because part of what leadership is saying, look, I think the group as a whole is going in the wrong direction, and I'm willing to be independent and say, like, we're all going off a cliff. And whether it's the climate, pandemic disease, the cruelty to animals, you and I and most people who think seriously about this issue agree, we're going off the cliff when it comes to animal agriculture. But the second thing you're looking for... We're going off the cliff
every day, mate.
It's scary.
Day.
It's so scary.
Every second.
Yeah. Have you been following the avian flu stuff in the United States?
No.
It's so scary.
I've been totally off social media, bro, for the last couple of weeks.
That's probably a healthy thing given what you've gone through.
But I'll tell you about it, but go ahead.
Yeah. But one, one thing that has been blown up on social media is avian flu we just went through a pandemic in 2020 that killed a few million people. Yeah. Avian flu is plausibly 50 times as deadly to human beings than COVID-19. And it has been jumping from chickens to cows to cats to deer.
What?
And they're finding it in milk, and the milk becomes really like sticky and yellow, and it's filled with this virus called H5N1, and it kills 56% of human beings who get infected with it.
Wow.
And there's been so little, 56%.
That's crazy.
And the only thing that's preventing this from exploding and killing potentially tens or hundreds of millions of human beings is right now, human beings can only get it from other animals. We don't transmit it to each other. So if I get it and I cough in your face, for whatever reason, it doesn't transmit from human to human. And so, I mean, so many scientists across the world are saying, hey, this is an existential threat for the future of the human species. And it's completely driven by factory farming. It's because you've got these huge factory farms with tens and sometimes hundreds. Exactly.
Didn't think about this
my
much.
point is, like, what are you looking for in a leader other than enough independence to say, look, maybe we're not thinking about this, and maybe for various reasons our society doesn't want to talk about this. But as a leader, it's my job to tell you all when the house is on fire. And the house is on fire right now.
100%. You got it.
So,
mate, when are you going to fucking do it? You're going to get everyone's backing, dude. The whole vegan world behind you.
Dude, I tried running for mayor in 2020 in Berkeley. And
I remember.
Do you remember this?
Yeah. How'd that go?
We had a goal of turning Berkeley into the first vegan city in the nation.
I remember. It was beautiful.
I know.
loved
Guess
that.
how many
Just
people
the
voted
vibe
for
of
me?
The idea. Yeah, how many?
24%. Not too bad, right?
What? I think I'd say less. That's amazing, bro.
Dude, you have no confidence in me. You thought I was going to say less?
I have such confidence in you, but I don't have confidence in them, the voters,
not yet.
so much.
No, it was wild.
I do, tell me, man, 24% is
well,
awesome.
No, because
Congrats.
24% is great because that shows you there were a lot of non-vegans who said, yeah, I'm kind of down for a vegan future. Like, because
hell yeah, man.
Berkeley's got a lot of vegans, but it's not 24%. It's probably not even 2%. I mean, vegetarian, it might be 5%, but vegans probably like 2%. And that means there were 10 times as many non-vegans voting for a vegan future than there were vegans, right? There were a lot of non-vegans who were down. But I think part of what you need in leadership is independent thinking. You don't want a leader who's just going to go along with the crowd when you're taking the planet off the cliff. But the other thing that you need in a leader is courage, right? You need someone who's willing to stand up even in the face of intimidating odds, even in the face of threats, of like social norms that make it seem not cool to do what you have to do. That is like a fundamental attribute of leadership. And to me, if someone is not vegan, they're not showing independent thinking, right? Because almost everybody thinks independently. I read like recently, there was a survey that was just done of all these philosophers, and over half of all the philosophers that were polled in this sample of 2,000 philosophers concluded that being omnivore is unethical. Like you are not allowed to, over half.
Oh, that's good. Kind of.
It's good. It should be higher, but
I mean, but it's something. It's something.
It's something.
And it's strange, like the way that they would try to justify. How do you do it? Yeah. How ridiculous? Just so ridiculous.
Yeah, the way they were justifying
it's weird.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So one of my former professors in law school, who's a philosophy and law professor, he actually wrote a blog post about this, trying to justify, because he's one of the few philosophers who said you don't have to be vegetarian or vegan. And the way he justified it was, I mean, we hear this justification all the time, that, well, animals don't have an interest in life, right? We shouldn't cause them to suffer, but killing them... Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, bro.
Brian Leiden, that's the guy's name.
Sound like you never looked at an animal in your life, mate.
You
know what an animal is? Of course they love life. Like my
of course
cat,
they love life.
Today. In the
Dude,
sun.
Have you seen a dog? Have you hung out with a cat?
Bro.
Do you know any animal?
This guy never loved life 1% compared to a dog. What's he talking about?
Yeah.
But anyway, proceed.
I mean, his argument is basically, well, after they're dead, they don't have an interest in life anymore. And the same is true of humans.
Yeah, bro,
after we're dead, it's not like, I guess there's an argument if you believe in the afterlife and you think human beings become spirits or something like that. But there's no scientific evidence for this. You can't make policy on the basis of just a religious belief. There's no scientific evidence that any human being cares about their life after they're dead either. So by that logic, we should be able to murder human beings too, right? Because they don't care. After they're dead, it doesn't matter. So, but the other point about that is it's ridiculous because even if you only care about the suffering of animals, and there's no philosopher who thinks the suffering of animals doesn't matter. There just is none. There isn't a single one I've ever talked to. Even if you only care about the suffering of animals, guess what? Animal agriculture is inflicting more suffering on more living beings than any system in the history of human civilization. Anything ever.
And you're paying for it, and you don't have to.
And you're paying for it. So how could it possibly be okay, even if you're only concerned about suffering? Anyways, but 100%. My point in all this is,
get on the stage for the world and go preach, bro. Come on, President Wayne, go.
Hell no,
go, bro, make it happen.
Dude, we need a complete political revolution. This current system is not going to function.
It's saddening.
Yeah, but to me, the argument for only voting for vegans is you need someone, and not just on animal rights, on all issues.
But what do you do when there's no vegans, bro? What do you do? Like,
well, that's why we need more vegans to run for office. We need you to run.
No, it's so important, man. Yeah, maybe one day it's something I consider sometimes.
You should be president of Brazil. You're not even Brazilian, and I think you should be president of Brazil.
No way.
Why not?
Because I don't even... No. But
who's going to defend the rainforest, James? You are the man. You are the legend.
Oh, dude, I desperately want to. Like, I'm starting to work on developing this language skill, and I'd love to be able to speak to the people about it here, and just sort of see what they say. And because the Amazon is close to their heart, that it's something they care about, and it's also connected. Obviously, it's directly connected. Yeah. So I think we have some great conversations here, man. They're really friendly, warm, loving people, and I don't think they're going to get so defensive as people I'm used to. I think they're going to be a little more thoughtful about it. I've seen some videos of like a couple of guys that I know here now that are activists doing like really chill interviews with people, really chill vegans. Like, what do you think of vegans? And try this vegan donut. Just really nice, chill guys on the streets. And everyone that they, the videos they post, no one's, snarky about them, throwing chicken wings at them or something. Everyone's just super laid back and, giving it some thought and, kind of a little more in agreement, a little easier. That's what I see from these videos anyway. It is awesome, bro. Look,
that sounds like you. That sounds like you were born to be a Brazilian.
Shit. I love it.
Because you were super chill. You're super fun to be around. Everybody likes hanging out with you.
That's Aussie too. The Aussies too,
I mean, Aussies are a little. There's a little bit of a rougher edge there,
Yeah, that's right. No, man, I'm. It's gonna be cool. But I think that there was that guy, the Cory Booker, something like that, New York mayor. Yeah, he was. I heard a couple of.
He was a senator in New Jersey. Eric Adams is a New York mayor.
People just don't give animal rights enough thought. What they need to do. You can't just like this is something that I'll get into because I want to talk a bit about social media and sort of what happened to me and things like that. But
yeah, please.
Like what I've done recently, man. I've replaced social media with books. I used to read so many books, bro. When I first went vegan, I read like a bunch of Gary Francione's books. I read like so many books on animal rights, just over and over and over and over again. And that's how I like really got to grasp it and understand it, and feel comfortable explaining it to other people as well, because of all those books I read and all the the audios, like long format. And since I, got on social media and then was working on social media in the comment sections, doing posts, this and that, scrolling, looking for whatever.
No, not the comment sections, James.
Mate,
Did you get lost in the comment section?
You would freak out if you knew how many tens of thousands of ridiculous conversations I've been in. Oh, just stupid. I look at it now, I'm like, wow. But I had to hit rock bottom to realize that, that is... Because I was suffering and it was hard to do much else. Like I had my phone in my hand, I could just get in the comment section, But nothing good happens there, very rarely. And there's so much better ways, and that's why you're saying.
I mean, there's some good stuff. There's so many people who love you, dude.
You have some good conversations, bro.
Dude, I have been in your comment section. So you're saying nothing good came from me in your comment section.
I'm just talking. I'm talking specifically about like people who you're trying to have a serious conversation with about animal rights.
Yeah,
a lot of the conversations are a bit of a waste of time.
It's hard to, There's a lot of love and support that goes in the comment section, but you're right. It's not a great place for like philosophizing or thoughtful analysis.
That's what I'm sort of talking about, bro. Like spreading the message, Yeah. No, I love the comment section with all the legend and everything. So many cool people. But the when it comes to trying to get this conversation understood by people, you know, you need a few books, you need a few documentaries, like you need some hours thinking about animal rights, watching slaughterhouse footage, thinking, oh, more recipes. This is it makes sense. Yeah. You know, you can't just be like TikTok, 15-second video about veganism. Don't get me wrong, it'll plant some seeds, but you know, there's you got to really think. That's what I'm saying, because there's guys like Corey, the mayor, who I think said it. I heard a few.
Corey's a senator.
Sorry, senator.
Eric is the mayor.
Like, right. Okay. I heard a few things where, you know, I don't know. It was equivalent to like maybe horse riding. Those things where some vegans think it's a gray area, right? And I heard a few things like that, and I thought, man, you know, even this guy, he's busy. How's he going to think about animal rights and give it the attention it needs, so he gets to the point where he's like, whoa, animals are people. This is a Holocaust. And oh my God, this is like the most pressing issue ever, really. So like by far. So
you're right. He's not.
It takes time to get to that point where you really get it on that level.
We understand.
And that's the reality. That's the reality of it.
And I will say, I love Cory Booker. He's great. He's a vegan. I would vote for him over any other presidential 100%. Candidate. He did betray veganism in a presidential debate in 2019. Do you remember this?
Okay. This might be what I'm trying to remember. No, not. I remember something vague about him. Okay, so what was that?
So on a nationally televised presidential debate with probably tens of millions of people around the world watching.
Oh my God, dude.
He got a question about his veganism. That was an amazing opportunity. Such a good opportunity to advocate for animals, because it was like such a softball question. I forget what the journalist... What company the journalist was. It might have been NBC, but it wasn't even like Fox News. It wasn't some right-wing outlet. It was like a progressive journalist saying, you know, you're known for having a vegan diet and caring immensely about the environment, about our health, about animals. So do you think that other people should follow in your footsteps and be vegan too?
Oh my God. Yeah.
And you want to guess how he answered?
No. I just want you to tell me that it was really good.
It's so bad.
What does he say?
First he says no. Right, if I recall correctly. So he says, no, don't follow my footsteps. It's like, dude, what the hell? What's the point of everything you're doing?
Are you a leader or not?
Outlet. Yeah, and then he immediately pivots completely away from veganism. And it's such a bizarre answer.
Wow.
He starts talking about racial justice. It's like, wait, this has nothing to do with the question. It was this weird deflection. And again, I love Corey. For all the Corey fans out there, I'm sorry for bringing this to your attention. It broke my heart too. Yeah, but he just
that sucks.
He pivoted completely away from his veganism.
Like, don't you think that is
like he was scared? He was scared,
terrified, because you're going up against 99% of people.
Yeah,
you know, this is. It's not easy to do that. He's probably trained not to. It's probably very serious. If they mention veganism, you say hell no. You move on from that shit. You know, like
because he was scared.
It's the biggest red flag for a lot of people.
But I think part of it is what you were saying, that he just didn't have the time to think about it. He doesn't know how to talk about veganism. And I say this as someone who really admires his oratorical abilities. I think he's a really good communicator, but he doesn't think enough. He doesn't talk enough. He doesn't read enough about veganism and animal rights to understand how you can answer that question in a way that'll get people on board. In other words, he needs to watch a goddamn interview with Logan Paul.
yeah.
Because he needs to learn from you.
Bro.
I'm actually not even kidding.
I messaged him back and forth maybe once or twice, if I remember correctly.
Really? Cory Booker?
That'd be amazing.
I don't have
my Instagram anymore. I got banned.
Okay.
I definitely messaged him. Maybe he didn't respond, actually. I don't remember for sure. I'm pretty sure I reached out to him one time when I heard he was doing legendary stuff.
How dare he not respond to James Aspey? Does he not know who you are?
He's busy, How dare he? He's busy. No.
No. In the vegan world, you're the legend. He's the peon.
Bro.
Here's Cory Booker. Here's James Aspey.
I want to have a chat with him, bro. Maybe I could get him on for an interview or something.
That'd be amazing.
I could, flesh out a bit more of his thoughts about it. It's actually a good idea. I'd love to do
He's a lot more likely to talk to you than me, so do it. And tell him about this conversation. Because I'm a convicted felon. As a politician, he can't talk to me. He's not going to. He's a politician. It's scary. Because everyone's going to say, how dare you talk to these criminals? All this nonsense.
Yeah, you're a terrorist, bro.
I know.
That's
worst terrorist ever.
Insanity.
My terror usually involves feeding sick and injured animals, which is so scary, I'm sure.
Suffering animals, terrorists. Yeah. Is ridiculous. It's like so disheartening, man. You know, when you're talking about these people, they're not vegan, and politicians are just like, wow, the people leading us can't understand this simple, obvious thing that slashing sentient beings' throats all day long, billions of them every day, is something we should all be opposed to, appalled by, and taking immediate drastic action to end. but like, so that sort of thing is levels to getting this. And as you said, it's levels from, I'm not even vegan, but I'm going to go to this protest. Welcome, be around us.
Absolutely.
You'll learn more.
You'll understand.
To the level of like someone who's, I'm vegan, but on the stage, should everyone be vegan? No, there's a lot of people like that. No, I'm just doing my thing. And then there's the vegans who are like, everyone needs to be vegan. What the hell are you talking about? Everyone needs to be vegan, just like everyone needs to not rape women or abuse children. And
or even just kill and eat dogs. Everybody agrees we don't kill dogs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, not everyone.
Not everybody. Okay, but everyone in the West. Everybody in the West agrees.
This stuff. And look, let me show you something.
Yeah,
bro. Like, look what we got here. Look what we got here in Brazil. these delicious burgers, dude.
Should I show people what I have too?
Futura. Yeah, show me. Look at this.
All right.
Meaty.
So I don't know if this is a good advertisement though. But all right, we're going all in today. We're going all in on the delicious plant-based food. Here's what I got, everybody. Hool.
What is that? It's pasta?
Oh my God.
What the hell is that, bro?
It's Hool. It's microwavable instant vegan meals.
Actually looks delicious.
Yeah, it's actually really good. It looks like diarrhea, but it tastes delicious.
It looks bad, but
it looks a little like diarrhea, but I promise you it tastes good. And I have not been supported by, I have not been funded by Hool at all, but it's a plant-based. Not yet.
Let's talk to them, bro.
Until they see
Come on.
And when they see me comparing their food to diarrhea, they'll realize they've got the marketing slogan for the ages.
That was a bad start. Nah, you started at diet, but you can only get better from here.
It's good though.
We're living, it looks good. We're living in this new place, and there's a little store up the street, just like a little grocery store. And we go in there. There's some really interesting vegan products that are surprising that they're there. It's like kind of specialty items. But we go there today, and
this is in
Rio. Checking out. This is in Sao Paulo. It's about 10 hours south of Rio or something like that. It's I don't know if I want to say where it is, to be honest.
Yeah.
So much.
You don't want to get doxxed. You got a lot of enemies, my friend. Be careful.
No, it's too many, bro. Too many.
But, were you in Rio before, or have you always been in Sao Paulo?
Always been here, bro. Yeah, but we're about 3.5 hours away for some reason. Now we're a 10-minute drive, a 10-minute bike ride from the beach. So we went from 3.5 hour drive to 10 minute straight flat road, dude. It's beautiful. We're so stoked. But anyway, let me tell my story. We get to the checkout, and across the like monitor, whatever they got there, was this advertisement for plant-based meats.
Wow.
So it wasn't there the other day. They just put it there. And then we go and we see they've got all these vegan meats. So yeah, we got some to support the cause,
That's
Cheers
awesome.
to Brazil.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and that's coming from a country that is one of the most kind of famous cattle raising, beef eating countries in the world.
Big barbecue culture.
Look, if it's taking over Brazil, it's taking over everywhere. And it is. I think it's, and I mean, I know there's some numbers that have come out recently on plant-based meats and vegetarianism and veganism that are not optimistic to people. And the thing I always tell people, it's not just about where things are now, it's about the trajectory, where things are going in the future. Not just moral philosophers, but musicians.
Tell me what you think about that.
I think before you and I die, which, granted, you and I are probably going to live at least another
150, at least.
Yeah, we're going to live another 100 years each.
For sure. Technology is going to help us out, bro. And we're going to boom.
So do you think technology is ever going to cure aging? Do you think it's just going to be?
Yeah.
Really?
For sure.
Would you do it?
In our lifetime. 100%.
If you could take a pill that would just make you immortal, you'd do it?
But then I don't know, because I might want to die one day, and if I couldn't, that would be pretty heavy.
Yeah, that would be heavy.
It'd be pretty cool to master all the things you love.
No, and imagine, because eventually all the planets are going to fall apart, all the stars will die. And imagine you're just floating in space and you can't die. And there's nothing. God. Everything's deteriorated around you.
You need to learn how to meditate.
I know. Meditate for 10 billion years.
Holy shit, bro. Sounds pretty gnarly.
I think I'd probably honestly still take the pill. Even if I knew I was going to have to float through space in isolation and complete darkness for 10 billion years, I'd probably take the pill. Because I feel like there's something really beautiful.
You'd master it. You'd master it eventually.
Yeah, and also just there's something beautiful about consciousness. It's just kind of amazing to have experiences and just to see the world. I mean, and especially our brains are these amazing simulation devices. I could like play video games in my own head. I could, pretend to play sports
Create
in
a
my head.
whole
I can
thing.
remember this conversation like that I had 10 billion years ago with my brother James Aspey about the days when people still ate animals.
Maybe that's what will happen, dude.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what will happen. We're dead, but we internal beings. So no, a lot of people believe stuff like that.
That's true. Some people do believe that we're already immortal,
Yeah,
What is your religious background? Do you believe that?
No, I don't. I try not to believe things that I don't know for sure, I've had enough psychedelic adventures to feel somewhat, not 100% confident, because how can you be? But I do feel like we already know there's a lot more than meets the eye. I've had some situations and experiences where I really feel like, there was other beings around that were invisible, sort of telepathic conversations, different feelings like that. I had some pretty interesting stuff over the years, and I take it with a grain of salt,
Okay.
But,
this is when you're on psychedelics or just in general in life?
Not always. I've had some pretty weird stuff happen, bro. Like some pretty, kind of ghost stories, actually, sort of thing. Okay. A few things. Yeah, some pretty interesting.
I mean, you got to tell us now. What you can't talk about ghost stories and not tell the story.
Okay, I could tell you one. I could tell you a pretty interesting one. All right, so you remember Paranormal Activity? That movie?
Yeah, it was a great movie.
But remember, because I actually really want to hear your answer. Remember that we're going back to where, like, the trajectory. I want to know what you think about. You said in our lifetime, but I want to hear a bit more, like, flesh it out a bit more with you. But I'll tell you this quick story. So, dude, there's some weird stuff, man. Okay,
what was the movie about? It was about like a couple,
Paranormal
right?
Activity.
Like a ghost that's trying to kill.
There's like 6 of them. I don't know if I want to go deep into this crazy weird story, bro. Like, it's
your call. Like I said, this is a friendly conversation.
Okay,
I'm not here to call you out. I'm not here to love and support you. So
it'll be fun.
I don't want to traumatize you, man.
No, not at all. It's a super cool story, actually.
Okay.
But it's sort of weird talking about this kind of shit. But whatever, who cares? Fucking fuck it. All right, dude. My phrase for life lately has been "foda-se," which means fuck it.
Nice, nice. That's a good slogan.
Good. I've needed it. Dude. It's been a heavy time, mate. But all right, so Paranormal Activity was about ghosts, and like they were kind of nasty ghosts, right? Like haunting people and doing weird shit. I watched the movie with my friend, and she, after the movie, was like, "That was shit," da da da. And I said that was very relatable to me, actually. Like some of those things are very relatable. Some weird shit's happened to me, and I told her all these stories. Next day, I was like running a gym, a personal training studio. I get there 5:30. Yeah, I get there at 5:30 to 6:30 session, and then where's it 6:30? Anyway, in the morning I do a session, and then I have an hour and a half to chill. All right, no one there for an hour and a half. I go to the back seat of my car, lay down. I'm sleeping, right? Just dozing off, and then I'm in this dream where I'm talking to the person that I watched the movie with. We're talking about ghosts and stuff, driving in a car. And then she says, or one of us says, I have this really strong feeling towards this name. And let's say it's Sarah. Okay, I want to change the name. There's Sarah. And as soon as she said Sarah, this is in my dream, right? As soon as she said, I felt this strong sensation in my chest, like boom. I was like, whoa. And it was so strong that it actually brought me back to the backseat of my car. I became conscious in the backseat of my car again. But the sensation was still there, extremely strong. And it was sort of going over my whole body. And many times in my past, I've had an experience like this where I'm totally frozen and having some sort of strange experience like this, right? But sometimes it creeps up from my feet, and it's been quite dark. This is like a couple of times in all my life, I don't want to say I'm getting haunted all the time or some shit, but a couple of weird experiences. And, I take with a grain of salt the meaning. I don't really know, and I don't pretend to, and just weird shit, but I'll explain. So anyway, sometimes it creeps up from the feet. This one started in my chest, in my heart. It was a beautiful feeling. Like it's strong. And I'm in the backseat of my car. I can't move. I'm trying to move. I'm aware. I've got this feeling. I'm completely paralyzed. So my heart's pounding. I'm like, oh my God, I'm paralyzed. What the fuck? Like, this is crazy. And then I just have this feeling someone's here with me. for sure. Like, boom. All of a sudden I was like, I'm not alone. All right. And this feeling just pumping, this energy through my body. I'm like, whoa. And then because of the dream I had, I said, hello, Sarah. Right? And the feeling just kept going for a bit. And then it slowly just went away.
Wow.
And I was like, what the hell? This is just the start of this story, bro. I was like, what the hell? Oh my God, what the hell? I could start to move again. I was really trying, okay, I can move. Like,
and you weren't on anything. This is just completely sober.
No, I hadn't done any drugs for 6 weeks, not even a coffee.
Wow.
I remember I was in a period of my time where I was just like completely no drinking, no weed, zero. 6 weeks.
Interesting.
I woke up, I was in the gym in the morning. I woke up at 4:50, got there at 5:30. That's what I used to do, I'm pretty sure. Worked 5:30 to 6:30, and then from 6:30 to 8, I believe, I had a break. Or it might have been 2.5 hour break, but it doesn't matter. So, dude, this is the start of the story, right? Whoa, what the hell just happened? Sarah, that was crazy. Yeah. And then I realized I've just started training this girl who I hope she doesn't, I never told her this story, but anyway, whatever, who cares? I started training this girl who some of her family, including her mum, died in a house fire.
Wow.
And I was trying to help her, trying to get in the gym. I talked to her at a party one time, like, you should come to the gym. You live close by, it'll be good. You'll feel good. And really, really nice girl, really nice, sweet girl. And so I'm like, whoa, Sarah, like, I just started training her and I'm starting to put it together. Oh, maybe that was like a beautiful energy. Maybe it was her mom or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure this out. Whoa. I didn't have any message specific. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep trying to help her. I'm just going to keep trying to help this girl. Come to the gym, And it was sort of going like that. I wasn't really getting very far. And then I remember I have this dream.
What do you mean getting very far? Like she wasn't...
like she wasn't really coming to the gym, This is over probably a week or two, right? This is probably over a week or two. Anyway, in the middle of the day, I have this dream that because I do morning shift and afternoon shift, so I'd sleep in the middle of the day. So I do some training in the morning, have a little snooze in the middle of the day. I'm in bed. And I'm dreaming that I'm in the gym.
So you're a professional trainer at this point. This is your job.
Yeah, I was a personal trainer. I was running a personal training studio. Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun, really cool. Oh, it was an amazing, amazing time. Anyway, so I'm in the gym in my dream. The gym's been painted blue. I'm looking around. I'm like, what the hell? I was just here this morning. I'm running this show. No one told me that anything was getting painted. Like, this makes no sense. This must be a dream. I must be dreaming because the scene makes no sense. And I knew I was dreaming. I became lucid in my dream. And then I was like, oh, I'm lucid. I should do something.
Wow.
I should do something. And I said, Sarah's mom, is that you? Right? And as soon as I said that, boom, like this strong sensation in my chest. It freaked me out because sometimes you try things like that and nothing happens. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
But I said it and it happened. It was like bang, strong energy. Like, it was like I had a massive hit of cocaine or something. It was just like,
damn,
bang,
Was this your first time lucid dreaming? I've never had it happen.
So probably.
You've done it before?
I've had it quite a few times. Yeah.
Okay. I've never done it. I've heard about it, but it sounds like a wild experience.
Yeah, it's super cool, man. Like, I've got crazy stories about when I became aware in dreams. Wow. One time, I'll tell you just real quick, I had a handful of ecstasy pills and they were all different. And I was like, what the hell? Okay, fair enough. Maybe have a handful of ecstasy pills, but not all different. That's just so random. Like, you get 100 of one type or something, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever. You're not going to get like one of every type that's ever been created. It made no sense. And so I was like, I'm lucid dreaming.
Wow. And you figured it out. And you just ate them all.
I was chewing them, but then I freaked out. I'm like, what if this isn't a dream? And then I woke up. I was like, it was a dream.
It was a dream.
Let me finish the story, bro, because it's crazy.
Hilarious. Okay,
the story because it's crazy, bro. Sorry, it's a bit long, but...
We should talk about ecstasy at some point,
This is one of my favorite stories in life. Huh?
I don't know if you heard about what happened in the United States recently with ecstasy, but it's kind of messed up.
No, I didn't. We'll
talk about it later. Finish your story. I don't want to know your
I'm
story.
Curious, though. Yeah,
but we'll talk about MDMA in a second.
They're ruining drugs over there, with fentanyl and all that shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So sad for the people. All right. I'm dreaming. Sarah's mum, I get the feeling. So it was an answer. I was like, oh my God, Sarah's mum. Like, whoa, crazy. Okay, cool. All good. Keep trying. Okay. Then one day she just didn't show up at the gym, and I messaged her. I was like, in my head, because I wasn't going to tell her. I was just going to help her, try to help her. I go, should I tell her in my head, about her mom? And I hear this yes, and this feeling yes, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to tell her. So I said, listen, this is kind of weird, but I've had these couple of weird experiences, and I don't know. I just feel like maybe your mum's like sort of contacting me in a way.
Trying to reach you. Wow.
I can tell you all about it if you want. She's like, oh, it's a bit weird for me. I'm not, maybe one day kind of thing. I was like, no worries, Sorry.
Because her mama just died.
It was a while back, actually.
It was a while back.
But I was like, sorry if that, upset or anything. I only did it because I felt like I was supposed to. Sorry about that. Anyway, this is my last bit of the story. Then I have another dream, right? In the dream, I'm in school. I'm seeing this girl keep looking behind and like being sort of really nice, smiling to me and stuff. I'm like, oh, who's this girl? Smiling. The bell rings. We all go. We all get up to leave. She comes up to me. She goes, she looks at me. I'm like, oh, this looks like Sarah, but like a young version. And when I thought that, boom, the feeling. I was like, whoa, okay, that's what's happening here. And then she looked at me and she goes, thank you. And then she gave me this hug. Just hugged, and I just hugged her back, and it was so beautiful, man. I was like, whoa, I feel so touched. Like this is crazy, this is special. Wow. And then and the feeling was there. I was like, okay, I get it. Like, you don't need to keep doing that feeling kind of thing. I understand what's going on here, sort of thing. And it passed, and that was it, man. That was one of my experiences. So very weird and trippy. And
did you go back to her again after that and explain the last dream?
I never told her the whole story. No, I never did.
Wow.
Yeah, I moved away and stuff and went on my journey around Australia. And
sure.
So
this is all in Australia.
And actually, I heard that she'd also, I did tell a couple of people out this, and one of them said, oh, she's actually had an experience
similar.
Yeah, like about it. So that's interesting.
So, but how do you know
I won't
that
tell
isn't
her
just...
story, but
okay. So, I mean, how do you know that is a ghost or some supernatural force?
I don't know anything.
Just your imagination.
I don't know anything. Could be anything, bro. Like,
because I'll tell you, I've had similar experiences in dreams, but I don't attribute it necessarily to any supernatural force. I had a dream.
Well, I guess it's because like I was paralyzed. Something was happening to me. I had this strong vibrational energy through my body. I had this strong knowing all of a sudden of a presence. I was paralyzed, man. Like, how do you? It could have been my imagination taking me on this really weird trip. Maybe it's very possible. Yeah. I'm open to that possibility, but there's just a few things in the story I'm like, well, that's kind of unexplainable. Yeah. That's kind of weird. So who knows, my man? Yeah. But I guess, look, to be honest, when I say who knows, to be honest with you, after a while, after some years of experience here and experience there, I got to the point where I was like, okay, well, it feels like the wrong thing now to say. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know because I got to a point where I felt like, oh, actually, I feel pretty confident in this now. There's still like a possibility, margin of error, a big one. But overall, I would have to say that I feel pretty convinced in that sort of realm. It's hard to put into words exactly what I feel, but you asked me my religious beliefs, and I'm very opposed to religion. I find it very divisive and just delusional. And it's sad. It's sad for me to see people like getting lost on these crazy trips and believing all these things, and it's just like based on what? It's just really weird. And I don't think it makes for a good society to have everybody believing in Santa Claus or like Sky Daddy kind of thing. So I think it's weird. But for me, like I've had these experiences, so I feel like there's more than meets the eye for sure. I feel like I don't know about. I do feel, actually, to be honest with you, again, that there is some sort of God presence, something like that. I don't know if he's up there judging and giving us rules, and I don't know. But again, like I feel like I've had some experiences in my life where maybe I was had some sort of experience where I felt connected to that sort of thing, and so I can't. It's not very specific. Like my beliefs are kind of pretty broad, but very very open minded, but also very careful to not claim I know things that I don't. You know, I try really hard to just stick to what I can prove, and then everything else is maybe not.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what you're saying resonates with me because I've had similar experiences. I've just interpreted them differently. But I also have changed my mind a lot over the last, say, 15 years. I was raised religious, but religious in a very incoherent way because, you know, we're Chinese immigrants living in Indiana trying to become Christians because that's what Chinese people do. Wherever you go, you just kind of follow the norms of the community you move into. And in central Indiana in the United States in the 1980s, that was becoming evangelical Christians. And so my family tried to become Christian, but we didn't really quite get it. We're like, who's this Jesus guy? And what did he do? He walked on water and he made fish.
Right.
Why did he make fish?
Weird.
And how did he make fish from nothing? It never really, like my parents didn't understand the stories well enough. And like even Santa Claus was kind of confusing.
You guys were too smart. You're like, well, this sounds like bullshit. You guys really believe all this shit?
No, I don't think we didn't. My parents are really kind of kind and humble people. So, and they respected Americans a lot. So they figured, well, I mean, if 300 million Americans who have had such a positive impact on the world, I mean, obviously America has had a lot of bad impacts on the world, including on animals and the environment. For my parents,
and sometimes because of religion.
Because of religion, for sure.
Sometimes, yeah.
But for my parents, I mean, they grew up in Taiwan getting fed by the American military. They would not have survived if not for America because they were on the wrong side of the Civil War in China in 1949. They fled to Taiwan and lived because of the American government, because of America. So they really aspired to be like Americans. And this is true of people all over the world. I mean, people all over the world look at the West, Australians, Americans, Brits, and they want to be like us, right? And in both good ways and bad. So, but we never really quite understood what being like an American was because we're Chinese and we just didn't get it. And so partly for that reason, when I went off to college, I pretty quickly realized I thought all religion was nonsense. And I became a really dedicated atheist, like Richard Dawkins, who I still love Richard Dawkins. I think he's a brilliant guy. I mean, he's gotten some trouble recently. And he's, you know, he's got weird views on animals. You know, do you know his views on animals? It's really weird.
Oh, tell me, dude.
He's great in the sense that he's like you. He's directly compared animal agriculture to slavery, to the Holocaust, and said, this is an atrocity. But he still eats animals. And he says,
that's ridiculous.
And he still basically participates in these systems on the grounds. And it's not because he has some weird health issue or because, you know, he feels like he needs to eat animals. He just basically admits, well, it's because I'm a conformist and I don't want to be different. Like literally.
Yeah,
he says,
it's a real thing, man.
I know.
Unfortunately, some people just don't have the courage.
Yeah, because he just doesn't want to be different. But I read Richard Dawkins. I read his book, The Selfish Gene. I read the book, The God Delusion. I was pretty convinced. And so for a while, I was very anti-religious because I thought, well, this is one of the problems of the world, that you have this weird anti-scientific thinking that's driving people to believe these things, including the idea that animals are beneath us. Because that's, in the Christian religion, there was this original dominion that supposedly was granted to human beings. And God created man and woman in his image, but the other animals are beneath us. And so there's this hierarchy that the Judeo-Christian religion created between human and non-human animals. I didn't like that. And so for a long time, I was devoutly atheist. I condemned anyone who's religious. I thought, what are you? Do you believe in the Easter Bunny too? Do you believe in Santa Claus? But honestly, I've had a lot of experiences, not even so much personally, because like I've had personal experience similar to the one you described, but I've always just, I don't know, I just think the brain's a weird thing. And it's like, it does weird things to us and we don't really understand them, and probably no one does, because the brain is really complicated.
I could be 100% wrong, and it could have just been some random thing, like 100%.
Yeah, your brain is just,
brains are weird, bro.
It's weird.
Real weird.
But I have a couple good buddies who have very similar experiences, and they often do relate to people who've died, which is pretty fascinating, right?
Yeah.
I have a good friend, John, who has lost 3 of his sisters to a rare genetic disease.
Damn.
They've all died. I think the first died when she was 7, the second died when she was like 20, and then most recently one died when she was like 30. And they all have basically have knowledge from the day they're born that they will die from a horrible and painful disease.
Really?
I think it's called phencoleukemia or something like that. I don't remember the disease, but it's a genetic disease that causes basically your leukemia to waste away, and you can no longer create red blood cells, and your body's just
so
like
they knew straight away when they were born, like, this is gonna be hell.
This is gonna be hell,
oh
and you're gonna
God,
die.
Bro.
And
that's horrible.
My friend
we're all
John
gonna die, but like to know that There's a different kind of longevity expectation.
Yeah. And just because your parents randomly married the wrong person, because it was a recessive gene, and it's a very rare attribute. I think there are only like a few thousand people around the world who die of this every year. And you just have to just by random chance be the offspring of two people who both carried this extremely rare gene, and they both have to pass on that version of the gene to you. So my friend John, he and his brother
3 times, bro.
Yeah, so they've got 5 kids in the family. The two boys.
I shouldn't judge. I don't know shit what's going on with them.
But the 2 boys were fine, and then the 3 girls all died. But my point in telling this story is, John is a very scientific and logical person as well. But after his sisters died, he just had this spiritual awakening and felt like he was still able to talk to them and connect with them. And I'm probably butchering the story, so I don't understand it entirely. And having met one of them, I met Amy, and I know John, and I know like he's a very serious and thoughtful and reasonable person. When he shared this with me, it did shake me up a little bit, made me think, wow. And I will say one thing about science is, I think it's anti-scientific to say that everything in the world is in the material universe, because part of what science is humility and openness and skepticism. And it is possible there's something out there that we just have not been able to measure, that we don't understand yet. And there's
totally
always weird
different
theories.
dimension.
Yeah, there could be other dimensions. I mean, we don't understand any of this, right? And, you read a Marvel comic book, there's all this stuff about alternate dimensions and, the Doctor Strange and what is it called? The parallel dimension that's like the spirit world. What's it called? Do you remember?
I'm not
Do you
sure
watch
on that
Doctor
one.
Strange? I don't know.
No, I never got into that one.
Yeah. So anyways, the point is, I think I'm no longer as devoutly atheist. I don't deride people who have spiritual beliefs. I mean, you really shouldn't deride anyone for any of their beliefs. If someone's beliefs aren't hurting anyone, I feel like
that's the thing though, man. Like, I think overall it does hurt. I think as a collective, like everyone believing in but being delusional is a fucking problem. A fucking problem, dude. Like, no, you shouldn't be so gullible to believe these things, guys. Like, we need to evolve past this shit. Get a bit more.
Well, that's the argument. But I mean,
thinking.
but someone could say the same thing about what you just told me, right? They could say, what James is saying is delusional, and you can't allow people to have these
But I'm
sorts of
open
beliefs.
to that. I'm like, cool, yeah, maybe it was like, I really don't know. I don't say, no, this is what happened, 100% da-da-da. Where they're like, no, Jesus rose from the dead. Trust me, bro. I read it in a book. Someone told me. Like, yeah, it happened. Really? That's really like...
Yeah, but I mean, part of the reason I think a lot of people believe that, and I don't believe that either, but is because they've had a deep personal spiritual connection. They've had not just a dream, but sometimes they feel like they've actually talked to Jesus, and Jesus told them this.
And maybe they did or something.
Maybe they did, and maybe Jesus did.
But I just think there's too much.
There's
too much leap of faith to be like, on this page, this is what happened, and he said this, and God wants this, and look, God also wants this. That's in the book. Like, bro, you don't have that book that you think you do. That ain't the word of God. They think they've got the word of God. It's different word. They think they've got the word of God. Different words. Like, one of you maybe is right and everyone else is wrong. Or maybe all of you are wrong. And that's where I sit. You can't just think you guys have the word of God. Because it's in an old book that you guys have just claimed is holy. Like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, part of it is, I think religion is an opportunity for people to, whether they're true or not, just bond over shared stories.
Totally.
Like, so for example, in Chinese culture, we have these stories about dragons, right? And I don't think people believe them, but, well, actually, I don't know of anyone who believes them, but probably somebody believes them. But there's a story that on the New Year, it's actually very similar to Passover. And it's interesting that a lot of different cultures have a story similar to Passover. But the story that the Chinese people offended the gods. And on the New Year, these dragons descended on the community and ate all the children. And the only thing that would save you is if you had to make, I think the story is you had to make dumplings for some reason. I don't know why the dragons wanted dumplings. I guess dragons like dumplings. And you left them on your door. I know. I actually, never mind. What am I talking about? Everybody loves dumplings. Of course, dragons love dumplings.
Get them dumplings. They'll be sweet.
It's kind of a weird thing to think that dumplings are going to save you from being eaten by a dragon. It's like...
Nah, that makes sense to me, bro.
You must really like dumplings.
Dude, I've had some good ones.
Vegan dumplings are the best. I mean, you can make some great tofu dumplings. So good.
Yeah, 100%. Delicious.
So there's this old story that a lot of Chinese people share of these. If you put, so like in Chinese culture, if you've ever been around Chinese New Year, you see the color red everywhere, right? Like, and there's this thing called red envelopes where you give the kids these red envelopes and they get money or a little gift. And the historical origin of that story is the color red was supposed to avert the dragons. You leave the dumplings out, you paint your house of red, you leave red banners out, you hand out these red envelopes, and your children won't get eaten by dragons. Boom. And my point in telling this story isn't that I think most Chinese people believe this. I don't think most Chinese people think that on a New Year, if we don't put our red banners out, our kids will get eaten by dragons. It's just like a cool story for us to bond over.
That's cool.
It's part of our traditions.
I like it.
You know, so
well, there's a difference. Sorry, go on, please.
So I just think like religion is kind of like that. There are these cool stories that people bond over and they share. They often have good moral intuitions behind them. Like the story about the dragons is about, you know, providing food for your community, you know, being good. So, and understanding the corruption that we're susceptible to, and realizing we have to be accountable to our community and give something, these dumplings to, I mean, in this case, it's the dragons, but the dragon sort of represents the world, the community. You've got to give something back. Instead of always being selfish, make these dumplings, give them to someone else. The red paint and the red banners symbolizes your remorse over all your sins and all the things you did wrong in the last year. And therefore you don't get eaten by a dragon.
Dragons deserve dumplings too, man.
Just like us. Dragons deserve
just like
dumplings.
Us.
That should be our new campaign. Dragons deserve dumplings. These motherfuckers in Game of Thrones who are not giving their dragons dumplings. That's why they keep eating everybody.
Dude, that's cruelty right there, bro.
So I mean, what's wrong with that? Like, if a religion has these stories people are bonding over, that's not a bad thing, is it? I mean,
no, it's cool, but the problem.
So let's go to church, dude. Come to San Francisco. Let's go to church together.
The delusional aspect, bro. The delusional aspect of believing miracles based on faith. You know, based on without having proper. Something that should really convince you. You're just like, look, the evidence is very weak, but I'm going to believe it anyway. I think that's not wise. And I think most people don't realize, like they just grow up with it. So again, it's like eating animals. You don't question it much. It's just normal. You go do your thing. You listen to the sermon and you believe all these things. And you think like you also have a huge beliefs about the afterlife. So if you think heaven is somewhere else, you know, this isn't it, but that place is going to be good when I die. You know, you live differently, man. And I'm not saying it's bad. Like, I think a lot of them are great people and everything. It's not a personal thing. I don't there's other ways to bond with community, and we can have different stories and do different things. And we don't need to have this, you know, these collective beliefs that ultimately, they bring some communities together, but they also divide. Like, we're right, you're wrong. We're right, you're wrong. And, you know, it would be cool if we were all just like, hey, we're kind of all wrong. These are just sort of silly, but kind of interesting stories. But, you know, ultimately, none of us know really for sure, and let's just be good to each other. There might not be somewhere after this, but just be good now. You know, that's all you can really do. But look, it is social. That I don't know, man. I just feel like fuck. We're still doing that. You know, like we're just monkeys, bro. You know, we're just that's what I've been realizing. But
monkey see, monkey do, James.
Bro,
if we're monkeys, monkeys like to do what other monkeys do.
Indeed.
So there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I think it's cool. Dude, I'll take you to church. Cool? I've been going to a church recently, and I'm not even, like I said, I'm not a religious person, but I like going to church now because I just think it's cool to have these. It's just cool to have a bunch of people get together and like sing the same songs. And I will say the church I go to is called the Unitarian Universalist Church, which is basically, it's like an atheist church. It's like you can believe whatever you want.
I'd go and listen to some philosophy in that. Dude, I you know, once a priest got in contact with me, he's like, you guys need to make this a religion. You know, you guys need to take this seriously and do like weekly sermons on veganism, and you need to like make this like
Reverend James Aspey.
Let's go, bro.
That is the future of the animal rights event.
Boom, boom, boom.
Reverend Jimmy
tons
Cashby.
of fun. Yes.
I mean, look, all these ministers are actually trying to cheat people. You can pretend to cheat people, and you'll make millions for the animals.
Now I actually get the cash.
Now you'll actually get the cash street. No. Were you raised with religion?
Not really. Went to church a little bit, but you know, I went through like a crisis when I was 21. I was just like, what the hell is true? What the hell is true? And
was this before the eating disorder stuff or after? Like,
this was before. This was before.
Okay. Yeah, because that was later in life.
Yeah, it was like, although I was a binge eater still, but it was like, I need to fucking know what is what. Like, I was just going back and forth, run up and down stairs, asking my dad questions about religion, and then it was so funny, man. I really just like, I need to stop wondering and just decide, you know? Like, I've got all the information, now use it.
Yeah.
What is facts here? And it was so funny, man. It was like God sent me a gift. It was so weird. My mom used to...
God sent you the gift of atheism.
He did. It was so funny. It was
That's
poetic,
great.
dude. It's
God
crazy.
sent me the gift of atheism.
Bro, so I'm chilling at home and mum used to work. She'd get home like 10 o'clock on Saturday, Sunday nights. She used to bring home DVDs sometimes. She brings home a bunch of DVDs. I'm like, oh, what'd you get? One's called Religulous. You ever watch that?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
It's
Religious.
hilarious.
So it was like, it's hilarious.
It's
And
actually-
it's basically just...
It's not clear to me if it's like a horror documentary or a comedy. It's kind of a little of both. Oh, no, wait. Religious. I'm thinking about
I
Jesus
don't know
Camp.
what you're talking about.
Religulous is Bill Maher.
Religulous.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Religulous is Bill
Yeah,
Maher.
yeah,
Okay.
funny.
No, I was thinking
As
about
well,
Jesus
but-
Camp. Jesus Camp is a thing I've seen. I
I
haven't
don't
seen
know that one.
Religulous. Yeah, Jesus
Okay,
Camp is
Religulous
hilarious.
Religulous is just... It's also funny because it's that dude, but... It's basically this dude like asking the tough questions to the top of the top in the religions, and their answers are just pathetic.
Yeah, they don't make any sense. Yeah.
And it really just exposes, the flaws in the thinking. So that just landed in my hand, dude. Religulous. I'm like, Religulous. And in the day of my crisis, peak, Religulous just comes home. I put it on, I watch it, and I get to the end of it, and I'm like, I'm good. And since then, I've been... watched a lot of hours of the Atheist Experience on YouTube. I love it. I love when people call in and
What is the
answers
Atheist
everything.
Experience?
It's the best YouTube channel, bro. It's also really good to like see debate.
Wait. No.
He's a
Now I
great
know you're bullshitting
conversationalist.
because we know the best YouTube channel is James Aspey. That's the best
Right,
YouTube
he's too
channel.
good
So you
to
mean
me.
the
He's
second
too
best
good to
YouTube
me.
channel?
He's up there. He's up there. We're like this. Dude, he's so dedicated. And listen, you need to watch it actually because I really would love a similar thing with veganism, the vegan experience. Because what he does, he's been doing like decades. He's been doing it decades, this guy, bro. He sits, they call, hey, I'm a Christian, what about this? And then they have a conversation. Next caller. There's hundreds of hours of this guy. I've watched so much of it, man. And it's
interesting.
You can't watch him and not get convinced. He's just too logical. He's too logical and no one's got nothing. Like, big people, who should know their shit, call in and this and that. He debates them all the time. He mops the floor with them, bro. So I've become very confident, and I find it very important to feel this way that I do about religion because so many people use religion to justify animal abuse, and I'm tired of using their religious texts to say, no, it's wrong, because then they're going to be like, but in this part of my religious text, it says it's fine. I'm like, well, in this part, it says it's not. And it's just fucking a bunch of shit. I feel like I'm just playing fantasy land with somebody. It's ridiculous in my opinion. So I just cut to the chase now. And I'm like, religion, why? Why do you believe this?
Yeah.
What do you believe here? Like, really? What's your evidence for this? Convince me. How come you believe this and I don't? Why are you so confident when that person's just as confident in a completely different religion? How do you make sense and rationalize all these kind of things? So I find it extremely important, man. And like, something I wanted to say earlier, you were like, you should come to San Francisco and do outreach or this and that. I'm in Brazil, bro, and I don't speak Portuguese, so I'm trying to learn, but like it's a slow process, and I've been gone through some shit. It's been hard to learn, but I really want to start soon. But like the point is, I can't just go on the street and no one speaks English here, bro. I can't go on the street and do some outreach. And at first, that was really frustrating, but it's just made me focus on music. Just made me focus on writing rhymes, dude, and getting these songs together and stuff. So it's given me a time to do something that I think is going to be way more meaningful and a really good start of something different and I think impactful, I hope, instead of, spending the time still doing what I used to do, which I'd love to do again someday, but I'm really happy to be sort of dedicating this time to expressing my feelings in a different way, in a more like, poetic, powerful way, I think it is.
Well, I believe in you whatever you do. Whether you're doing outreach, you're writing, you're doing music, whatever you do. I mean, you put your heart behind it, you're going to do great things.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I'm checking out this Atheist Experience page.
Hell yeah.
414,000 subscribers. Pretty good.
You
Lots
just
of
reminded
content.
me.
Pretty good. But here's the moment
You
of
got to
truth.
check it out.
All right. Well, I'll check it out, but only
I hope you love
if
it.
he passes the test. And here's the moment of truth. I'm going to ask
Wait
about
till
him,
you
right?
hear his bullshit. Wait till you hear his bullshit answers about veganism. Fucking ridiculous.
This is what I was going to ask you. All right.
I
So
know.
is he vegan? Because we just started this show about how...
Ridiculous. Dude.
So you're going to bat for this guy, and he's not.
No one's
He's not one of us.
No one's fair. He's a work.
All right, so what's
he's
his
a work in
explanation?
progress.
All right.
he doesn't know enough about the topic to make a firm decision.
What?
So,
Oh, come
yeah, it's stupid.
on. That's
He's
such
like,
a
look,
cop-out.
maybe it's better for the environment. I haven't done enough research. Maybe this, maybe that. You know, I love steak.
But you don't
he's
need
been
to even know
confronted. There's
anything
a really
about the
good
environment. The ethical argument is so simple and
Exactly.
straightforward for anyone who
Look,
just thinks
man.
about it.
Totally, bro. Nah, it's sad. It's sad. Like, because he's such an intellectual, and you know, it's not that he doesn't get it. It's that he loves
Yeah.
eating meat. That's what
Let's
it is.
reach out
He's
to
not
him.
like, oh, I don't understand. Why is slitting throats bad? No, you understand, but you enjoy chicken and you enjoy steak and you enjoy, you know, all this stuff that you don't want to give up. So you just like play dumb. It's fucking sad.
Yeah, interesting. So he has, I just Googled, or not Googled, I searched on his YouTube page. He has a piece called Veganism and Christianity, which is
Vegan
really
Gains
weird.
is called in, bro.
Vegan Gains
Check
is
out the
called
Vegan
in?
Gains video with him. Yeah.
Wow, cool.
He had a great conversation.
Well, I
and
mean,
it
if
was
Vegan
ridiculous.
Gains, if Vegan
He's a
Gains
man.
called in, he has no excuses because Vegan Gains will give you a dollop of truth. I mean,
It
Vegan
was a
Gains,
while back, and he was in a good mood, Vegan Gains. He wasn't too hard on him, but he
wasn't
did
too
very
hard
well.
on him? Okay.
He did very well.
Interesting.
He asked all the right questions.
Interesting.
No, it's good, man. It's good stuff. Definitely check it out. And check out his debate. It's not a debate, but remember Alex O'Connor, who was vegan?
Yeah, of
He was
course.
like you know, the guy? And then you saw
Yeah.
that he
He went
was like,
ex-vegan.
I'm not vegan anymore, whatever. It was so stupid. But
Yeah.
he
I
before
mean,
that he had a big conversation. He had a big conversation with this guy about it. He's like, "Why aren't you vegan?" And so that's an interesting conversation to watch because you'll see he just has no good answer.
All right, just because we went after Alex O'Connor, and just so I can give Vegan Gains some shit, because Vegan Gains deserves to get some shit. I'm just kidding, Richard. Don't.
Yeah, fucking get it.
I'm
What is it?
scared. I'm
He'll
scared.
crush you.
I don't dare speak his name in vain because Vegan Gains is going to come after me. No,
He
but
would
I
never.
disagree
Got
with a lot of
respect for
people
you, I
on
think.
Alex O'Connor. Because I think so. From
I
what I
saw
understand,
what you said about it. Tell me again, but I
Yeah,
remember
so,
seeing
okay.
you talk about this.
So I think his explanation for why he didn't go vegan, or no, so his explanation about why I think it's ethically justified to eat animals doesn't make any sense to me. So he basically he uses kind of the vegan bodybuilder argument. Have you heard the vegan bodybuilder argument? It makes no sense. But the basic idea behind this is, okay, if killing and eating animals is wrong, right? If killing animals is wrong, then we know agriculture kills animals. And both plant-based and animal-based agriculture kills animals because plant-based agriculture, they're sowing and tilling, they're using pesticides, and a bunch of animals are dying. And that's not a very good argument for not being vegan because you're still sowing and tilling more land on an animal-based diet than on a plant-based diet because, for example, chickens use 8 times as many calories of grain than they're actually being grown. So it's a lot easier to just directly eat the grain. So he says it's not a good argument. But if we actually think it is wrong to contribute to animal exploitation and violence through our food preferences, then it implies that being a vegan bodybuilder is unacceptable. And the logic is as such, that a vegan bodybuilder has to eat more plant-based foods than a skinny vegan. Because like a skinny, weak vegan is not going to be needing much food because you just like sit around and don't move and you're only going to eat like, 1,000 calories a day. And
Not
you'll
me
be saving
lately.
animals because you'll be eating fewer grains, which means there's less sowing, there's less tilling, there's less pesticides. And because I don't think James Aspey and Vegan Gains have an obligation to be skinny vegans who don't work out at all, I therefore also don't think I have an obligation to be vegan because the difference between a skinny vegan and James Aspey is similar to the difference between James Aspey and me in terms of contribution to violence against animals and our food preferences. So I think that's wrong and doesn't make any sense for a whole host of reasons that we can get
You
into.
lost me actually. You lost me right at the end. I
Sorry.
didn't quite understand your conclusion. Can you try to repeat that differently?
He's basically saying that it's just a scale. There's
I get the bodybuilding thing. Well,
yeah.
can I give you my answer on that? Because I've actually
please.
evolved my answer
Yeah,
quite a lot on that. It took me some time to grasp this, but I saw that there was a different conversation happening around this. So I'll try to explain it to you. And this is something I've learned from guys like Ask Yourself, Isaac by any chance? And Vegan Gains. And they say it like this, something like this. Hope I don't butcher it, but we're talking about animal rights here, all right? Extending the same rights. Okay, so when it comes to the killing that happens to the animals, in order for us to have a food supply for our society, it isn't isn't different to how we would treat humans if they were relentlessly destroying your crops over and over again, and destroying your food source. You would have to protect yourself, and if the only option is lethal force, you have a right to protect your. They relentlessly destroying it. That's threatening your survival. You have a right, I think, to defend yourself. That's what I see it as, just an extension of self-defense. So I don't think it's a hypocritical thing to do, because again, we would, if they do that, when they go to war and they destroy food supplies and stuff, like, it's a similar thing. You have a right to protect that. So I just see it as an extension of self-defense. And then there's another thing, that you can't actually prove that there's more suffering and death by this tillaging and things, because no one knows. There isn't a good answer for how much killing actually happens on the crops versus how much killing happens in the wild. So potentially, you may be, by doing this tilling and creating this different type of land from wildland to a cropland, it may lead to much less suffering, death, and rights violations, due to having less potentially less animals, and therefore maybe a lot less bad, horrible things.
This reminds me of this argument Brian Damascus has made. How do you feel about effective altruism? Do you think it's nonsense?
I don't know a lot about it, but I think, like, at least they're trying to do good stuff, So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I don't know.
I even like Sam Bankman-Fried. Sorry if everyone hates me, but I think Sam Bankman-Fried was probably a good guy who.
Yeah, really. I don't know too much about that story either. Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't be admitting this. But
actually, it's all good.
Why should I admit this? Because let me stand by my positions. Like I said,
just people, and like, I'm sure that you'd be open to changing your mind if someone had a better argument. But I'd be curious to hear
if I saw evidence that he was trying to do something evil. I think he made mistakes, and there was a disastrous outcome for a lot of people. But I don't think he was a bad person. But
no, I'm sure you're not like supporting. Oh, he did this bad thing, and I think that's awesome.
No, of course not. But I think he was a good person who made a mistake.
There you go. It happens.
But so. Brian Damascus is an effective altruist, similar to Sam Bankman-Fried. The reason I brought SBF up is because SBF was also an effective altruist. And I honestly don't even know what happened to Brian, but he used to write a ton of shit. And one of the arguments he made that was, honestly, to a lot of people, incredibly disturbing, but I thought was interesting, even though I don't agree with it, is he basically says we should pave the entire earth into one massive concrete parking lot because there's too much suffering in the wild. And so there are all these rights violations occurring. And he makes the argument that because the vast majority of vertebrate animals are what's called R-selected species. So an R-selected species is basically a species that has evolved to use high volume reproduction to increase their evolutionary fitness. So like mice or snakes or a lot of fish, they'll have like 500 offspring and assume 1% of them are going to survive. All the others will get eaten alive, starve to death, get sick of some horrible disease. And because there's all these R-selected organisms, evolution has cursed sentient beings with this horrible fate where, it's kind of like my friend John's sisters. From the day you were born, you're going to die in a horrible way. And the only solution to this, according to Brian Damascus, is pave the entire planet Earth and turn it into one concrete parking lot. So, I don't agree with this, for the record, but this is the argument he's made.
Listen, this is the conversation I had with Nick, with Shawn Baker, that got on Joe Rogan. Exactly what we're talking about now. Did you know that? Did I tell you about that?
No, tell me more about this.
Our debate. I did that rap to get the attention of Shawn Baker. He agreed to do a debate. Me and this guy Nick, who has similar views as what you're talking about. He mentioned it. Like, I think that wild has a lot of problems, and it would be better to phase it out, like we've already done with human infrastructure in a lot of places. It doesn't have to be a car park, but a car park, they're saying, probably would be better than what's happening there now. There's so much hell for a lot of innocent beings there, and probably better if they didn't even exist in the first place. So I think that's kind of the argument, and it's hard to argue against, I think, actually. But I don't think you go out of your way to do it. Again, all we're doing is providing food for ourselves. That's a necessity. And the thing is that you just don't know. Maybe it is better that we're doing this. Maybe it would be worse if we didn't. But also, yes, there are some deaths from doing it, and maybe that's worse. The thing is, we don't know.
Wait, so what happened?
But the thing is, we're entitled to do it. I
actually think Brian Tomasic's argument's a bad argument. I don't think there is much of an argument for paving the planet Earth, even if there are a lot of our selected organisms.
When they say paving, they just mean like replacing with human infrastructure. It could even be a beautiful nature, but it's a bit more controlled, you know?
Yep.
It's a little bit, and I don't know.
Yeah, with less of the doom and gloom and starvation. No, the wild is wild.
They're getting eaten alive.
Yeah, they call the wild for a reason, because it's pretty wild out there.
It's a scary place, man.
I'll come back to why I think Brian's argument is incorrect in just a moment, but... What the hell happened with you and Joe Rogan? Can you explain to me? I kind of want to know now.
I would love
what
to.
Happened.
Yeah, bro. I'm on the radar now. So we had this conversation, Shawn Baker.
James,
right,
you've been on the radar for a long time, my friend. Don't tell me you're on the radar
with
now.
Joe, you think?
Come on.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe
I tried to get him. I'm like, bro, have me on. I've got the craziest DMT experiences to tell you. You know, I've done a Valve Silence.
Joe Rogan made fun of us. He made fun of DXC in one of his shows.
No, that's awesome. What did he say?
But it was a complete mischaracterization. We actually reached out to him and said, you basically defamed us on your show. Because he was basically accusing us of being terrorists and all this stuff. So it was pretty bullshit. But okay,
that's what happened to my friend.
My
friend was actually Nick, who joined me for the discussion, who's a good debater. That's why I had him on. I tried to get Dr. Avi, but he said no to Dr. Avi. He's like, no, I don't want to talk to that guy, because he knows Dr. Avi would make him look like an absolute clown.
Wait, who said no to Dr. Avi?
Shawn Baker. Dr. Shawn Baker said no to Dr. Avi.
Who's Shawn Baker exactly?
Shawn Baker's the leading carnivore doctor, like Paul Saladino and Shawn Baker. They're the two dudes, right?
Yeah.
So
I know Paul Saladino.
Yeah, they're homies. They're the same shit. I get on his podcast. There's a lot of story with this podcast, but I'll leave most of it. I'll just say, like, this conversation came up where he said, the wild is very dangerous, and he said I'd be in favor of replacing it with human infrastructure. And that's what Joe Rogan watched our whole discussion. He said he watched the whole debate we had with Shawn, and he just mainly mentioned that part, that was crazy, that they want to just replace the wild. And he just said about me, and who was that?
So Shawn said this, or Nick said this?
Nick said the vegan. He said wild is wild. Yeah, and it probably better. He's just it just randomly threw it out there, and then it got a big conversation. And then Joe watched the debate, and on that part, he discussed that was kind of a crazy bit. But I think it's hard to argue against. So why don't you go ahead, bro, and tell me?
I think you can argue against it. So, and I think even for our selected organisms, for a couple reasons. One is I think that the argument for especially human intervention in natural systems is very bad in general, because part of the problem is that human beings have shown enormous amount of arrogance. We believe we understand these systems in a way that we do not. And typically when we intervene and try to mass terraform new environments, we end up causing much more violence and suffering than we did before.
But the thing is, man, they bake that into their argument. They say we wouldn't do it unless we can be very confident.
Unless we could do this. All right, so let's fight the so you could say I'm fighting the hypothetical and say, like, all right, say we can actually do it. We can
we can do it well.
So I think that it depends a lot on your views on ethics and how much you weight autonomy versus suffering, right? I think I'm mostly utilitarian. Like, I think that at the end of the day, I just want fewer beings to suffer. I don't want to see anyone get eaten alive, starve to death, etc. However, I'm not completely utilitarian, and I think there's an argument that
threshold deontology sounds.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You know
so I think there's an argument that part of what makes for a more moral world is just giving all the sentient beings on the earth the right to make the choices they want to make, including the right to reproduce, the right to try to live, even if I'm going to suffer. And I think most of us agree with this when it comes to someone's own suffering. So you work out.
But they get raped in the wild, bro. Like, they're not choosing to reproduce.
No, that's true.
It's always rape. Not always, but like,
but
it's
the question is,
should we intervene?
Is it my choice to choose for this individual?
Would you intervene?
But that's not the question. The question is whether we should eliminate them entirely.
Well, it's should we kind of help them breed out,
just
maybe
non-existent.
It's just like vasectomies for them, like what's called
Correct.
spray and neuter.
Vasectomies
that's
for
basically you're just
for
stopping
animals.
the reproduction. Let's just say you could just do that.
Yeah, I still think
sounds.
I mean, so okay.
Would you do it with humans? Let me know if you do it with humans.
All right, you want to hear something really controversial?
They're getting tortured. They're getting eaten alive.
James, I'm about to admit something that might lead to the cancellation of Wayne Hsiung. This is the moment. This is
could do that.
After
There's
all
nothing
the
you could say.
crisis I've been through, all the attempts to cancel
you're too
me,
strong, bro.
I'm about to admit something.
All right, go tell me.
My dog is not neutered.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And how why is that?
And I had a female dog too who was not spayed. And the reason is, so there's a lot of complicated reasons. One is I just think these surgical procedures are way more dangerous than most people think. So for example, when you do research on the level of complication, especially in spaying surgeries, like when you remove the uterus, it's a hysterectomy. It's a very serious surgical procedure. Yeah. The serious complication rate in spaying surgery for dogs, from when I last looked, is 1%. 1% of the time, the dog dies or something really bad happens. That might seem low, but that's super scary. So I had a female pit bull who was not spayed for most of her life until she actually had a uterine infection and she had to get some sort of procedure done anyways. I said, okay, then go ahead and take her uterus out.
She was okay after? She survived?
Yeah, she actually died of a heart attack a couple years ago.
I don't know with you on this one.
Yeah.
So do you want to keep finishing?
Well, let me just finish the thought.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
So part of the reason is because I think there are some complications with these surgeries that I think are underappreciated by animal advocates. But the second and most important reason is just philosophically, when I think about the best world out there, and I mean, part of what we do as activists is we try to live pursuant to the best world. We try to live with utopian ideals, understanding the world's not perfect. And me going vegan isn't going to change the entire world to make the world perfect. Me rescuing animals isn't going to save every animal, but I do what I can to live pursuant to the values I believe in.
For the ones you can.
For the ones you can, exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
and I think, from my perspective, giving all living beings a choice, even when it could cause them suffering, and maybe even if it's going to cause their descendants suffering, is part of a utopian world. Because part of what we value in the world is not just reducing suffering, but giving people a chance to make their own mistakes if they'd like to. And this makes sense on an individual level. Like, so for example, if you want to work out to the point you're suffering, maybe even work out to the point that you tear a pec or are, overtrained to the point you actually get sick, you're working out so hard, which I think at times you've done. Like, you've actually done that at times. Like, you worked out.
I just did it recently, yeah.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry. But part of me, I would say, like, well, I don't have the right to intervene because, Jimmy Cashby is going to be Jimmy Cashby. Let him do what he wants to do. And I don't think the argument works quite as well when it's like you're affecting someone else's life, right? And so, like, if a parent decides to have 1,000 children and 500 of them will starve to death, that argument is not nearly as good as you just deciding, I'm going to make bad choices and I'll starve to death next year because of my bad choices. But it's not completely distinct. And I think the question of existence and population ethics, like what beings want to exist and what beings don't, it's not really for us to decide whether, for example, a baby mouse is going to starve to death. Was that life worth living at all? I mean, I think it probably wasn't. And I certainly think if we can prevent that mouse from suffering, we should try to intervene and give them food. If someone's going to get eaten alive by someone else, whether it's a human or a non-human animal, I think we should try and intervene and prevent that living being from being eaten alive. Yeah. But if our question is that existence even worth it at all?
You seem to have two opposing beliefs there, I think. But sorry,
say more.
Continue. Well, you're saying like, yes, I think we should intervene. But then when we're like, look at all this rape and torture, murder, you're like, no, don't intervene. So I think that sounds contradictory.
Yeah, it does sound contradictory. And let me just try and explain it.
Yeah.
The point is, I think there are very strong moral arguments once a being has come into existence to stop their suffering. But I think there are much weaker arguments for trying to prevent that being from coming into existence in the first place. Right. That's my point.
Okay, I would say that like, I think I understand where you're coming from, like they should have a chance to just go with the flow of what their life brings them, Yeah,
but, let me just give you a concrete example of why though.
Feel free.
Like my dog, Oliver, he is one of around 20 million dogs who are tortured and killed in China for meat every single year.
That's crazy.
From all statistical and rational evidence, if you had looked at Oliver in February of 2016, 2 months before I met him, and you asked, should we just get rid of this dog? Because he's going to live another 2 months and go into a slaughterhouse. If I could just have him not exist, that's probably better.
Yeah.
But turns out Oliver was the 1 in 20 million who was going to be saved. And he's lived a beautiful, amazing life. Like giving me so much joy.
Man.
And he's had so much
That's
joy over the last 6 years because we got him out.
That's
And
would it?
But
legendary.
Well, thank you.
Legendary.
But I mean, and he saved himself in a lot of ways because one of the reasons we saved him is he was one of the few dogs in that dog meat farm who came towards me. And when we were deciding who to rescue, we had to choose dogs we felt wouldn't make too much noise, they wouldn't bite us, they wouldn't cause any problems, and he came towards me. But from every rational, statistical, evidentiary perspective, his life was not worth living in February of 2016, and it turns out it was.
But
and
if you didn't save him, what about then? Well, I think sometimes we do need to decide. I think the responsible thing is to unfortunately have to decide sometimes. I think really the right thing to do is to be like, you know, this isn't necessarily what I would choose to do in a perfect world, but it's not a perfect world. There's so many beings out there that need help already that are just fucked. You know, letting more and more into existence is just making the possibility for helping everyone further and further away because there's more and more of them. We can just do this simple, usually totally, like basically harmless surgery, which is like, boom, okay, and now you can live your life. You don't have to stress about all that shit. And we can stop the suffering of a lot. I think that, like, do I want to have to make that choice? Nah, man. I wish the suffering didn't exist in the first place, but it does. And so it's like, whoa, it's a tough choice to make. I don't want to have to like intervene and you know, do that to your body. But overall, I really would assume that most of the time we are helping them by doing that is a good thing to do for them. And but you know, sometimes like, look, with you, maybe you're like, yeah, if they do it, that's fine because I'll take care of the dogs. You know, so like for you, I'm
20
like,
million
well, you
of
know,
them.
I mean, I still would say though, man, like I still think though it would be better to get the surgery instead of bringing new beings into existence. Where if you had space for 5 more dogs, there's other dogs who really needed you, man, and the ones that never existed, so it doesn't really matter.
It sounds like you're not going to have children, James.
I already had a vasectomy. Fuck no, I'm never having kids.
Okay. Did you ever want to have kids?
Not really. I was
Do you think it's unethical to have kids?
No, I don't. I was for a while, you know, growing up, I'll be a dad. Like my dad's a dad. It looked fun. He's cool. You know, I don't know, dad shit. But
that's such a funny way of thinking about it.
Well, I look like having a good time.
My dad's a dad. That looks cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, good. He's seems to be having fun most of the time. But no.
Are you close to your dad?
You know, yeah, like I mean, he's on the other side of the world, but in terms of our relationship, I talk to him like just messages and this and that most days, and update him. Yeah, he's a great guy. My mum
is he similar to you?
He's actually, you know, in terms of biology, no, because I'm a test tube baby. So my dad, he had a teething formula when he was a baby that like killed a bunch of kids, and for him it made him sterile.
Damn.
And, so I got So
he's not your.
He doesn't look like me.
He doesn't look like you.
He's not biological, but he's, you know, he's raised me since I was conceived, and like, you know, raised me since I was conceived. You know what I mean? He's raised me every day of my life.
You know, the point you were a zygote, an embryo.
Yeah, exactly.
he was raising you.
He was born. He's there. And but in terms of, you know, I'm sure I think there's definitely a lot I've taken from him in terms of like how to be a good man and a good husband and things like that. But when it came to kids, mate, you know, I just always felt so dedicated to animal rights, and I just felt like having kids was going to make it a lot harder to, you know, I felt like I could do something better with my life that would, like in one of my raps, I say something like, I don't want to raise a mini me. I want to raise an entire generation.
Yeah.
You know, so if I've got like way more time and energy to put into maybe music or maybe whatever the next thing is, I think that's you know, better than me raising a vegan. And I've got my 3 cats, bro, who I just adore. You know, we adore them so much. So me and my wife
love your kids.
are very, very happy in our family. I had a vasectomy, I think it was 3 years ago now. And
no regrets.
Mate, every day I'm just like, yes, that was the best thing ever. You know, I see kids, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm never gonna do that. I'm so free, bro.
So I take it Nikki's down for this too, right? She's down for the child free
bro,
life.
she's exactly the same as me. She's just like, nah,
I'm
let's
happy
live a different life. Like let's roll and just you know, we don't have to stress about that. And it's a weird world, man. Like if I'm honest with you, I've suffered a lot. actually in my time, and I love life so much, bro. Like Wayne, I love it, man. I'm so stoked every day. But a lot of it, you know, especially in the last few years, has come with a lot of physical pain and discomfort. And I know there's people way worse out there than me, and there's just it's a kind of scary world for me, man. There's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of dangerous people, there's a lot of delusional thinking, there's a lot of guns, there's a lot of violence. It's, you know, that, and then climate change, and it's not for that reason, but I do consider that. Like, if I thought of having a kid, I'm like, fuck, man, that's I don't know if I should.
See, but isn't your life still worth it, even though you've gone through so much? I mean, you've suffered so much.
No, totally. As I said, I don't think they'd regret it.
Yeah.
But what if instead of that one, me having a kid, what if instead I was able to help so many? Because I wasn't focused on them. I was focused on reaching them in a different way, and like doing something really good and maybe helping them go vegan, you know, and reducing the amount of suffering and death in the world. I'd way rather do that than raise a child, which I know is going to take so much time, so much energy.
You could do both, though.
Sure, it'll be great. But you're still splitting your time. And look, to be honest, bro, it's not all just that. It's just like, I don't fucking want to. I've got other shit I want to do. Like, I'm busy. I've got mad plans. I don't want to carry a fucking baby around with me and then have this kid I got to deal with for the next 20, 50, 100 years. Like, nah, man.
I think you'd be a good dad. Too much effort.
Thanks, bro.
To be honest, I think you'd be a good dad.
You want to do that? Well,
yeah, I do, but it's pretty unlikely. I mean, I'm 43 years old, and I'm dating somebody, but she doesn't want to have kids. And, or at least, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. And honestly, maybe it's a mistake to be dating someone who doesn't want to have kids. I don't know. I mean, honestly, my life is so crazy, though. Like, I was just telling you, I mean, I've got another restitution order of $500,000. I've got a judge accusing me of jury tampering this week. Every week, it's some new crisis. What? Yeah, no, you're a busy man, bro. This is not for this episode.
Need you, man. Like, yeah. If you had kids, I'd be like, oh, you're gonna be busy. Like, I'm fucking busy with kids now. You know, I wouldn't expect the same.
You should call me in if you want to try and argue me out of it, because I want to do what's best for the animals.
I am trying right now.
So if it's
you what you want to do what's best for the animals.
Well done, my friend.
I don't know how you would guess that having a kid would be better than
here's
all
one
the time
here's
saved,
one
money,
thought that
energy.
I've had. Yeah. No, sorry.
No, you're cool.
If we are actually going to try to build a future for the animal rights movement, for all the animals of this earth, a more compassionate future, we have to be part of that future. And the only way to be part of that future is if some of us, at least, I don't think there's an obligation to have kids, obviously.
Yeah.
But I do think if the vegan community, the animal rights community is a real community, it needs to have future generations. Otherwise, it isn't a community. It is a fleeting moment that will disappear. And so I think it is important for us to have kids, for us to have grandparents, intergenerational communities that last in the future and
vegans from birth. It's important to show. Yeah, this was never.
I agree. And that's the vegan kids are amazing. Like vegan Evan, that kid's amazing. Like I love that kid so much.
Oh, but there's heaps of cool kids that are vegan in that.
Who can you think of other than vegan Evan? You know, of all the prominent vegans, almost all of them don't have kids. I can't think of anybody. You know, like you, Joey, Ed. There's nobody who has any kids. You think about Friedley. I mean, nobody has any kids.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually think if we're going to be good role models for the world, we have to show the world how to be a vegan parent, for example. Right?
I would never say don't have kids vegans. I really want them to. I just don't want to because
that's fair.
I think that I'll do more good in my life by focusing on just instead of raising one from birth, converting people who are lost. Yeah.
And you've done a lot of that. So for you, that's the right path.
Man. I'm just warming up. Righteous. No, it is. Oh, dude, I never have I regret it for a second. Every day, I'm stoked that I got a vasectomy, bro.
Yeah,
like I just feel I never have to stress about it. I was like, cool, this is our life, baby. You know, it's me, you, it's the cats. We'll go here, we'll do this. You're gonna do that. I got this goal, but it's us and our family, and it's beautiful, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we're really happy and. I'm really grateful that we're both on the same page with that, like big time. So I think we're gonna, we'll focus on different things, bro.
All right, so I got to ask you. You said this a couple times. You just mentioned that, and I actually don't know all the details because I just heard this a couple weeks ago that the last couple months since we last talked haven't been the best. Can you just share a little bit about that? What's going on?
Oh, bro, it's just suffering a lot. So what happened? Oh, okay. So I moved house, right? I moved to this place. I love it here, man. Like, this is a dream home for me. I'm so happy. Amazing view.
It's
of the
apparently in outer
mountains.
space, but as I can see from your background, you're living in space
Yeah,
now.
you love this galaxy, bro. I can't wait for you to join me.
I can't wait to be a spaceman with James Aspey.
Hell yeah, bro. Let's go moonwalking. It's
so awesome.
It's beautiful, man.
Moonwalk with James Aspey.
Bro, let's float. We got this. You seen those cat fences that keep the cats in gardens?
Yeah, those are amazing.
Yeah, so we got them, and they've got this beautiful.
You've got a cat fence?
To enjoy. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Like, it just rained heaps, bro. It just rained heaps. So all the there's all these little pools and puddles, like quite big ones in our garden. So just seeing the cats enjoy it, go lick the rainwater and like have a different environment. Beautiful. Man, they're loving it. Like, it's amazing. And then to have the beach just there. So things were cool, bro. But you know how it is moving house, and you know, our last landlords are pretty stressful. You know, it was the time, and like I'm on a long journey of healing. That's, you know, it takes time to unwind the damage I've done. That's basically what I'm doing here. So but I was feeling pretty good, and I got resistance bands. You know those? It's just like a rubber band, right?
Yeah. I use them in Orange Theory almost every other day.
You use them? Is that what you said?
Yeah, in Orange Theory. I go to this gym called Orange Theory.
Ah, okay, sweet.
Yeah, there's like a red band.
That wasn't really a good. Yeah, you can have the thick ones. Here, that wasn't really a good gym. I was like, what am I going to do? And then I realized these bands, there's like replacing a whole gym. You can do everything with these things. You put them here, do triceps, do biceps, you lie back, do chest, you do pulling, you can do deadlifts, squats. Like, I was shocked just with this band that's $10 that you can have at home and work out at home. So I was so happy, bro. I'm just going to do this, see how big I can get with bands. I'm training, I'm in this beautiful place, and I'm feeling pretty good in my body, right? I do a workout. One of the first workouts I've done in like quite a few months, except for jumping up and down at a few raves. Hadn't been in the gym for because the last time I was there, I injured myself. It hurt for a long time. Anyway, I do a band resistance workout, and I was just so happy to be doing resistance training again. Later that night, at like 1 a.m. when I was still chilling, I did another workout. And then, dude, the next 6 weeks was truly horrible. My whole back the next day, my whole body actually was just like, it's like I'd had a spasm in my whole body. It's like everything was just locked and tense and tender to touch. And I was so sore, man. And, you know, I couldn't do nothing, bro. I was trying to like live a normal life and but mate, I was just consumed by pain constantly. Like every single second I was like, and you know, after some time, some weeks of that, where what I'm trying to say is like, I don't get a break from it, bro. You know, sometimes you get pain, it comes, it goes. But when this happens, stuff like this, sometimes I don't get it. Every conscious moment that I'm awake, I'm aware of it, and I'm suffering.
Just the pain. Wow.
Oh, no, it's hell, man. But I really.
What do you think it was? What happened?
I know exactly what it is. Like, I've been dealing with it a long time. But like, to summarize it, I've had a really bad posture for a long time, and I shouldn't be training muscles where I'm not in the correct posture yet, because certain muscles are weak and should be strong that I have, and certain muscles are really tense that should be more chill. And I'm going training, doing everything, and my body's like locking up, and you know, it's something along those lines, right? And I've been in a long process of healing, and I've trained my posture heaps, man. If I show you photos, I used to have this like S back. Now it's pretty much straight. It's been a massive journey. It's been so incredible, actually. But
you're making me feel guilty about my posture. Did you see me straighten up after you said that?
I'm
literally
kneeling.
straightened up right after you told me that.
Yeah, you should, bro. It's so
important.
Because
I was sitting like this. I'm like...
Bro, check this out. I'll show you if I can. I've been like trying a different posture here and just... I don't know if I can show you, but... I know, you can't really see. But just... Did I fuck shit up there? No. Just like kneeling instead of chairs and trying to sit up straight and things like that. But like, let me go to the story. So... Dude, I was suffering, man. I'm like on it with the doctor. Help me, bro. I can't sleep. I'm in pain constantly. You know, I'm stressing, dude. So I try a few things, some painkillers, some different shit. And it really did almost nothing. Like, it was not fucking helpful, man. And I'm lying there. I can't do anything, right? So I'm in bed. You know, I got to pass the time, but I can't really think straight. Like, I can't do something very productive. Like, I don't really feel like writing rhymes in these times, for example. I do smash a few out, but like I don't feel like it, man. You know, I feel like trying to concentrate on something like that is hard.
Yeah, pain is the worst. It distracts you from everything.
Oh, fuck, man. So I'm watching YouTube, dude. And what am I watching on YouTube? Presidential assassination. How did they torture people in medieval times? Corruption. This guy's a pedophile. Interview with some fucking psycho, you know, some child killer. I'm just like, it's just YouTube. I'm like, what the fuck? And just shit that I think will like distract me, I'll watch. And it's all this negative shit, man. You know, I was just like watching all the wrong shit. And it was making me really stressed.
Yeah.
And one day I was getting really bad, man. I was like, this pain needs to fuck off. Like, life is not worth living right now, you know?
Yeah.
And it'd been weeks, about 2 months, right? Somewhere like 6 weeks, 2 months. You know, I'm in this new house. We've got the beach there, but yeah, I was just suffering again, bro. It was really fucking annoying. And it was reminding me of Bali, where like, because I hadn't been kind of this bad for about 1.5 years, 2 years or something. You know, I've had my problems over the last year or so, but yeah, this was a pretty bad time. And anyway, I kind of just hit a bit of a rock bottom. I'm like, I can't fucking live like this anymore, you know? I'm sick of this cycle. Why am I always in pain? I'm always in pain. Like, I live in pain, you know? I can't fucking do this. Something needs to change. There needs to be a big change in my life. And I brought it back to basics, bro. I woke up in the morning. I feel like I had fucking 5 coffees. I was so agitated and stressed. I wake up, like, because I'm in pain still, dude. I'm just getting further and further into fight or flight mode, you know? Just more stress. So, I'm agitated and I hadn't had any coffee, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's just such horrible feelings, like anxious and irritated. And so I just took it back to basics. I'm going for a walk by myself, you know. Usually me and my wife would go for a walk, have a chat, have a laugh, but I was like, I'm just gonna go by myself. So, you know, like, I don't even want to have to try to have a conversation. Like, I just need to fully chill. When I get home, I made a chamomile tea, and then I was trying to just do all these things that are chill, right? Just bring it back down. But the biggest thing I did, man, easily, is I deleted all my social media apps.
Wow.
I deleted Instagram, I deleted YouTube, I deleted everything.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen you.
Dude, you might see me on there. Like, you might see me posting stuff, but I won't be on there. You don't understand how much time. Because when I was sick in all this pain, I'm just in comment sections because that's really all I could do. Like, I was constantly in it, and I've been constantly in it for 10 years. You're probably the same, bro. You know, when something comes up, you can't help yourself. You're like, I gotta fix this thinking. Like, you know, so but for me, you know, I couldn't go out, so I'm like just in it, bro, in it.
Yeah.
And I did too much, man, you know, and it stressed me. And I, you know, just waking up and seeing social media and assassination attempt, and then later it's some other stressful shit, and then it's this, and you just freak out about the world, bro. It's good to be informed, but like, you know, you should just chill. And I decided to replace social media with reading books again, just like I used to do back in the day, you know.
That's amazing.
I've read probably the equivalent. You know, finished one book, almost finished another. You know, I've almost read 3 books in like 2 weeks, I think it is.
That's awesome.
Where I haven't read that many books in over a year, bro.
Yeah, wow.
You know, so like, and I haven't touched social media. I haven't touched it. And
and your stress level goes down, your pain reduces.
Instantly, I felt so much better. And dude, I did a meditation, my first meditation in like a solid year, right?
Wow.
I sit there, you should have seen me squirm, and I was so uncomfortable. The last place I wanted to be was in here, but it was exactly what I needed to just feel it and just chill, just be okay. Like, because when I'm in pain, I stress about the pain, which leads to more pain, which leads to more stress. It's a worse cycle. So I had to just chill with the pain. So like, it's okay, just feel it. And it passed, man. Like, within 2 days of doing all these things, like reading this chill book and going for a walk and doing the meditation, drinking tea, doing some chill yoga and shit. Dude, I chilled out real fast.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I and it was just a big wake up call for me, because like I read a book on, you know, Nikki was reading about how like Instagram's fucking bad for you, dude. It's bad for your head. You make you do all this weird shit like compare and just who cares what these people had for lunch? We spend so much time there. There's so much time, and I just thought I don't want to look at when I'm 100 years old and look back and think most of the time I was just staring at my screen. I don't want to do that, dude. I want to read books. I want to write rhymes. You know, I want to learn how to break dance, and I got goals. Like, and if I'm just looking at shit on social media, I ain't learning nothing. It's not like reading a book. Like, it's just like instant, poor, low level entertainment, low level gratification. It's nothing meaningful. Like, don't get me wrong. It's all peppered in there. There's all heaps of good there too. I'm not totally anti social media. It's the best way to get the message across. But in your day to day, like, you know, I'm probably picking my phone up 80 times, bro. That's not healthy. So now I just leave my phone away, and I'm like, what do I want to do now? Oh, I should write some rhymes. What do I want to do now? I'd read a book. And before I was just like debating, because I always felt, I'm doing activism, so it's good. I'm always doing it. But now I'm just like, you know, because I sort of equivalent it to, well, I'm at a cube and I'm talking to a person, and it's a similar thing. But it's really not, man. Like,
that's not the same.
There's bigger projects we can do that will have a bigger impact than this one-on-one in an Instagram comment section. That's just pointless, you know? Pretty much pointless comparatively. So anyway, dude, my pain went real fast after that.
That's
like, I felt better within 2 days. Dude, and I just stuck to it. So every day I've got my list of chill stuff I do. You know, I'm going to get back into live streaming now. Like, I'm comfortable again, bro. So for the last, it's been about 2 weeks. I want to just make sure I was good. And then I'll probably start live streaming again tomorrow.
Just stay out of the Instagram comments, my brother.
Bro, I want to stay out of social media altogether. I don't want to scroll. I don't want to comment. I don't want to get in arguments. I just want to, you know, do some live streams, maybe make some YouTube videos, do some vlogs with my wife just for fun, and show people how we live our vegan life.
That's awesome.
And I just want to be focused on making music. That's so awesome. That I can release an album from Jimmy Cashby, and maybe many albums, dude. And, you know, see how it goes.
So you're sticking with Jimmy Cashby?
100%, dude. Jimmy Cashby is fucking... Dude, I got way too many rhymes that say Jimmy Cashby rhyming with some shit.
Insult. You own the insult.
Bro. They always giving me treats, dude. They always hooking me up. As I say in one of my rhymes. Okay, so it's... always turning their hate into making more money. You know what's funny? They don't even realize they work for me. I am the boss. They're my dedicated employees. Fuck it. Let's just be real about it. They are my slaves. Project Get Rich and Famous, Lord. I try and spread the vegan message to the masses and go to tons of raves. No wonder that they hate. I'm everything they ain't.
Hell yes. Hell fucking yes, Jimmy Cashby.
Hell fucking yeah, bro. Yeah, so I'm rocking it, dude. I got way too many rhymes that rhyme with Jimmy Cashby. I can't change my name.
Vegan. Eat that, cranky vegan. Eat that, Jake. No, we should be nice.
Dude, they're going to love my album.
No, let's be nice. Jake is going to love your album. Let's not bring Jake into this. So do you think the pain? Do you think the pain was just being caused by like stress? Just like the amount of stress your body is holding?
But it's also my postural problems. And, you know, it's a combination. But it definitely, what I've learned is that it's not just structural. There's definitely a mental component involved in chronic pain. Like, that's the biggest thing I've taken away. And you can summarize the solution with relax. Just that word, if you can do that.
And getting on social media
is a very conscious thing. Getting off social media helps a lot, especially for me. I'm very stressed on there. All the cruelty I see, all the bullshit, all the people talking shit. Like, there's so much. I look at my feed and I'm like, this is a fucking horrible place. You know, why am I here? So
I mean, the sad thing is, like,
my energy in better places.
Yeah, there obviously are a lot of toxic people who are just cruel and mean spirited, but the other thing about social media is it really does highlight the worst in us, not the best in us. Because there are a lot of people who love you, including me. You know, I mean, I know you through social media. You know, and I don't think we'd be friends if not for that. So there are virtues from it.
There's a lot of good. Dude, I you know, lately I've just been like, with these other people, like, man, no one's perfect. You know, we all got our different views and things like that. But again, it's just like, what I say, bro, fuck it. You know, life's too short. Oh, let me tell you one of the books I read. I read this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck I read.
Wow, cool.
And it was great. It's just like, dude, like, stop giving a fuck about everything. You know, me here, there's mosquitoes. I was like, fucking mosquitoes, they keep biting me. And then this thing happened, and then that. And it's just like, I'm getting way too stressed over little fucking things that don't matter. Like, chill, bro, chill. You know, I used to be super chill, but I've got stressed over this. And it's a conscious effort of like, no, I need to stop that getting stressed over. It's just, if something fell over, or like, just, life is too short to be fucking giving a fuck about all these little things, man. Yeah. We got other things to do. So that was a really helpful book for me, bro.
That's awesome.
I read Ready Player One. That was fun. Fun
Never heard. That's a good book.
Yeah, it was cool. I read half of The Catcher of the Rye, Catcher in the
Catcher
Rye.
in the Rye. That's a good
But
book,
then
actually.
it wasn't really for me. Like I only read half. I don't think I'm going to finish it.
I liked it when I was a teenager, at least. I've heard it's
I
not
would
as
have too.
fun when you're like an adult reading it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still cool, but like I'm not interested enough to finish it. But I enjoyed the little bit I read, half of it.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of reading too, and
yeah,
I mean, to me, one of the big differences between reading and social media is that social media is entirely reactive. It's all just like overstimulation. You're in that fight or flight stage at all times because they're literally just bouncing you from one video to the next, and it's all to make them money through advertising. I mean, that's how all these different social media platforms make their money, by keeping you kind of trapped in their little ecosystem, bouncing from one short video to the next. And the difference is when you're reading, you can be proactive. Even the fact that when you're reading, you can pause and just think about it for a little bit and say, what does this mean for me? Do I agree with this or not? When you're on TikTok or Instagram, you're just scrolling, everything's so fast.
There's
you
no
don't have time to think. You really, even if you tried to stop, it's hard to scroll back. And so when you're reading, you often read something.
You'd rather see the next thing than have a little think.
Exactly. And just spend a little time thinking about, oh, you know what? This idea on page 20, that reminds me of something I read on page 5. Let me go back to page 5.
Yeah.
And so you can be proactive. You can start thinking about, how does this fit into my life? How does this fit into my values? And with social media, it's all just reactive. You're not actually building anything. You're just bouncing from one to the next. So of course it's going to be stressful. So I actually think one of my great blessings is, I'm a little older than you. How old are you again? You're like late 30s, right?
37.
37, yeah.
Yep.
I'm 43. And so I grew up without even computers. I mean, I didn't, and I came to smartphones really late. I didn't get my first smartphone until 2010. Like I was not first generation. I didn't start Facebook until around that same time too. I was like very late.
I was late on both as well. I was the last one to get Facebook, last one to get an iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it was honestly in many ways a blessing for us because we still remember what it's like to not have these devices, to not have these social media platforms. And I think that's really important for all of us because these are very recent technologies.
And it's taken over, man. It's not just like a little over. It's like people's lives, everyone's just looking at their shit.
No, absolutely. They're parasites on the human psyche. And understanding that. And they also have benefits. I mean, it's not all bad, but there's a lot of destruction that's caused by it. And I think that's so beautiful that you found a solution to your pain. And I'm really happy for you, man. I'm really happy for you. And I'm glad you're live streaming too, because I also still think the world needs to hear your voice because your voice is so beautiful and charismatic and powerful.
Thanks, bro. I really enjoy my live stream. I always get a great crowd of people in there. But honestly, like that's just to pay the bills. What I really just want to focus on is the music, man, and get it out there. Because what I realized, like, I've been vegan 10 years now. The day I went vegan is the day I started my vow of silence. I've been advocating every day, basically, you know what I mean, for a decade. And I got to the end of, the decade, like starting a new decade. And
yeah, that's right, because it was like 2013, 2014, right? What year was it?
Yeah. No, 2014.
2014 was the year.
Yeah. It was 10 years ago. Like today I'm on my vow of silence 10 years ago.
Wait, it was literally today?
Year. I mean, the whole year I was doing the vow of silence. So, but it was 10 years ago in this year.
This year, wow.
I keep getting like the memories and shit. But what was I saying, bro? What were we talking about?
We were talking about... why am I forgetting now too? We're talking about pain. We're talking about the spiritual growth from reading as opposed to being reactive in social media.
I was talking about 10 years ago. I was doing my vow of silence.
We're talking about.
I've been doing it every day. Every day. Like basically for a decade, right? Now, what I did at start, I did my vow of silence for a year, and then I had a story to talk about. I went around the world telling my story, how I went vegan and trying to get people to go vegan. But I needed a story to have something to travel with, right? It helped, actually. I would have just traveled with the animal rights message, but having a story helped me make it more personable for people and funny and interesting. Oh, vow of silence. Like you can come for something different than just an animal rights talk. And now, so that was like a year of work to turn into a great speech that I got to share with a lot of people. And now it's been 10 years of animal rights, like in my head all day long, thinking about it, processing, seeing this, seeing that, this conversation, that experience, all this shit, man, in 10 years. It's been big 10 years. And I realized, I don't want to just let it go by. Like I want to like express how I feel about that 10 years. And I've really found the best way to do it, man. I feel like what I'm doing is I'm really loving it. It's really fun. It's really feel great to be, creating rhymes and being creative in this way with words. And, I would just be chilling. I'm like, thought of a funny rhyme, just, it's a really good process to be on. But ultimately I think that now that I've got 10 years of, 10 years of really giving this serious thought, I got a lot to put into music. That's what I'm saying. Like, it just pours out of me, bro. And I hope that people like it, bro, because I think there could be really good potential to, again, like use that 10 years to turn it into a package that will help, again, a lot of people go vegan all over again, bro. So, and instead of a speech this time, maybe it'll be a concert, maybe it'll be something like this. So, yeah, I'm excited about it, bro.
I'm first in line, man. I'm first in line to come to the concert.
You got to be.
I will.
Hell
like,
yeah. I might have something
beautiful.
lined up. I might have something lined up for my first thing, but I'll let you know about it. It depends. Like, I keep being, dude, I was smashing the music hard every day. And then I went through all this shit and I didn't do anything until, like a week ago. So it's annoying to be slowed down. But again, I try to turn it into rhymes and just make the best of it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm trying to tell people as well, bro. Like, it's just a really therapeutic thing to for vegans. Fucking dude, we're going through some shit. Like, we go to the meat section, it's just normal for everybody else, and we're like, fucking, this is crazy. This is fucked. Like, this is so horrendous. It's a big experience that we're all going through, dude. To live in a world like this, it's hard. It's in a lot of ways, it's hard.
And music is the language of the soul. It's what when your soul is hurting, not just your body. When your soul is hurting, music is how human beings for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. This is how we've expressed our joy, our pain, our aspirations, our hope. So music is so important. That's so, I mean, whatever you do, man, I like everything you do is so beautiful because it comes from such a profound and deep and heartful place. So I got your back, my brother. All right.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna, have I sent you any of my songs?
You did a rap at the end of our last conversation, but I don't think you sent me like a full recording. Send me a full recording.
I got a few, yeah, I'll send you. They're draft, but I'll send you a couple of cool things.
Good shit.
But yeah, man, so
we'll put something in the show notes. If you want us to put something in the show notes, let us know. We'll put it in the podcast.
I'll let you know
and
some
other.
I ain't ready to release much yet, but I kind of just want to release an album. Just be like, boom, there you go. Instead of release a song, releases. I just want to be like, analyze. I'd say some of the ideas for the title, for the first album name: Psychopathic Tendencies, Brainwashed Zombies, The Animal Holocaust, and what else I got? Yeah, I think that's the top 3 at this point.
We need more political music. So much of music is so inane and stupid now too. I was just at a talk this morning about kind of the beginnings of the rock revolution in the 1950s and 60s, and how much of that stuff from the 1960s and 70s was deeply and profoundly moral and spiritual and political.
Yeah.
It wasn't just
that's it.
It wasn't just like candy for our ears. It had purpose behind it, and we need more of that. So, all right, dude, I got to get going because I gotta.
No worries, brother.
I gotta have dinner with some friends. But this is amazing.
Dude,
let's have another conversation when you have some music out and ready to roll.
Yeah,
and I definitely want to help promote it and hear more about your journey. But I'm so happy for you, James, that the pain is gone. I'm happy for your move.
It's better.
I'm happy just hanging out with you every time I talk to you. I have fun and I feel better, even when I make decisions that maybe you don't fully agree with. Like,
it's all good, man.
Not
like we all got our reasons. I know that you're doing what you think is right, and
thank you, man.
I got my ideas, but I know you're coming from the right place. Like, you're doing your best in the world, like I am, and like a lot of us are. So I would never judge you, even if you had a different opinion, bro. Like, I know you're trying your best. Yeah, and I ain't perfect. Actually, one of the books I'm reading right now is all about how like we think we know so much, but the conclusions we come to with the things that like come to us, we're wrong so much. It's important to be aware. Like, I don't have all the answers,
Here's a book you should read. Think Again.
Yeah.
It's a great book by this guy, Adam Grant. It's called Think Again. It's so good.
Cool.
It's called Think Again. I just wanted to make sure it's.
Think Again. I'll check that out.
It's called Think Again: The Power of Knowing What You Don't Know. It's a great book.
Nice. Sounds like a good one.
It's really cool.
I'll definitely read that, I reckon. Bro, I'm frustrated because we talked for 2 hours and the first thing I wanted to ask you about was like, what's been going on, dude? You know, you even said something's going on today. You didn't even get into anything. I don't know how that happened after 2 hours.
It's all gloomy, doomy stuff. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it next time.
All right,
it's still too early to talk about it anyways. There's all sorts of wild stuff that's happening in my life right now. Next time.
Yeah,
next time.
Well, anyway, I wish you all the best with it, dude.
Much love to you, my brother.
Much love,
and
bro.
to Nikki and the cats.
Thanks,
until next time, don't hesitate to be in touch. Send me a note, like especially if you're going through something. You know, I've got your back.
Appreciate it, dude.
Where can people follow your live streams and your music? Is there someplace? Where's this all happening?
All
now?
I'm doing, I got banned. I was going to tell you about this, dude. It's interesting, you know, but I got banned from Instagram. My page with like nearly 200,000 people. My Facebook with nearly 200,000 people got hacked. I created another Facebook page, Jimmy Cashby. And then they banned that as well. And I only posted like one thing. So that got banned. So I got nothing on that. And now I've just got YouTube. And I'll probably just smash that on YouTube, bro, until I have an album to release. And, you know, this is all goals, man. Like,
and it's all James Aspey on YouTube. It's not, you haven't changed it to Jimmy Cashby. All right. So James Aspey.
Maybe I will one day. I don't know. I've been thinking about it. But dude, it was great to talk to you, man. Thanks for having me on again. I wasn't expecting to be able to talk to you again so soon. So
no, of course. I love talking to you.
I see you doing the rounds with everybody, bro. You're talking to all the legends. It's great to see. Great to see.
Yeah, we had some fun conversations. I had a great conversation with some fellow Aussies. Like Tash was hilarious. Like,
yeah, it was good. I'll have to check that one out. That's awesome. I'm in touch with Jack
so many adventures.
Fairly regularly.
Jack is great. Isn't Jack amazing? He's such a hilarious dude. He's got this like quiet humor to him too. It's like he's very deadpan.
Yeah, he's an intelligent guy, I think.
Yeah,
she has
She's great. Holy shit, is that one bold? She is so bold.
She's brave as, dude. Yeah, she's
speaking of people going through stuff. They're going through some stuff recently too. We all got to support them because they're getting like sued and kicked out of hotels. All sorts of wild stuff.
It's fucked up, bro. Yeah, it's fucked up. That's what I'm saying.
That's why we're gonna stick together, man. We got to stick together.
Wait, no, and I wanted to say, I know you're busy. Last thing I want to say, dude, like I appreciate you having me back on. You know, it made me feel like, oh, my homie Wayne, like my animal rights community member homie. You know, it made me feel connected. Like a bit as a community, man, to catch up with you again so soon. I appreciate it.
Always.
And I think what you're doing is great, man. Like you're getting all these cool people together and you're building relationships and you know, that's making our movement stronger. And I appreciate it, dude. Doing great stuff.
Thank you.
I want to hear what else you're doing, but let's talk next time, bro.
Yeah, let's talk next time. I'm hoping to model good relationships for everybody in the entire movement, you know?
That's awesome, dude. Great
goal. So let's make it happen, okay?
Hell yeah. No, you're smashing it, brother. Well, I appreciate it, man. It was great to talk to you, dude. Enjoy your rest of your evening. We'll chat again soon.
Until next time, I would chat with you for hours more, but I have some friends I haven't seen forever, including one who's leaving the state, unfortunately. It's actually co-founder of Direct Action Everywhere. He's leaving California for grad school, so we're going to have dinner with him tonight. So I got to get going soon. But
where are you going? What restaurant?
I think we're going to Hsiung. Which is really pricey for me, but especially since I'm on food stamps. But too much information now.
Maybe you're gonna just eat the food that they don't finish.
Yeah, exactly. I could be the garbage disposal. Until next time, my friend. All right. Stay strong. Can't wait to hear more about your adventures. Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
Appreciate that, bro.
We don't have to hurt animals. You can protect them. We don't have to kill them. We can care for them. And that's who we're meant to be, right? That's who we are when we're at our best. We're caring for each other and for the other living beings of this earth and not hurting them.